Welcome to this webinar for cooperating teachers. This is being live streamed on the Facebook page of Bicol University and BU Extension Office. This activity is made possible through the collaborative effort Bicol University College of Education Experiential Learning Office, Project Ripples, and Association of Local Colleges and Universities in Region. My name is Maribel M. Naz, and it's my honor to be your moderator in this webinar with the theme, Mentoring at Work. Following house rules. Number 1, for those in the Zoom room, please switch off your audio and camera during the entire duration of the session. Number 2, listen while the resource person is speaking, and we encourage you to take down notes. Number 3, please post your comments and questions in the chat or comment box for the moderator to read during the open forum. Please keep your questions brief to manage.
Yun na ipapamiting mo pa.
Okay. Again, may I give you the house rules? Number 1, for those in the Zoom room, please switch off your audio and camera during the entire duration of the session. Number 2, listen. Please keep your questions brief to manage the time. Number 4, let's keep our webinar respectful space. Number 5, please leave us a review. Do not forget to accomplish the evaluation form at the end of the webinar. This is so we will know how to improve and what other topics you want to hear from us. To formally begin this session, let us have first the singing of the Philippine National Anthem, to be followed by a prayer.
Asin patawarin mo kami sa samong mga kasama.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang mag-ibig, dalas ng sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng mag-ibig, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisikin, sa nagatak tutok sa sibayan, sa langit ang pagkaw, may hinagak sila kawin sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y katulad na nag-iibig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang may magdidilig, luman ang araw ng walang pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo, ang inigaya ng partay mag-amin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Mga kababayan,
At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, the Dean of the Bicol University College of Education, Dr. Lorna M. Minya, will give us her welcome message.
Good morning. Good morning to everyone in this Zoom room and to all the viewers on Facebook. I would like to greet you a very happy morning, although the weather is not so good, but I'm sure that we in the Zoom room are having a very we will be having a very fruitful day this morning and this afternoon for all any other activities that we will have. I would like to welcome you all to this webinar as an initial step towards a successful and memorable experience for our student teachers in their teaching internship. We all know that teaching internship is the final step in the professional development of our teacher education students, whom we call now as pre-service teachers. It is the opportunity for them to apply what they learned in our institution. It is also an opportunity for them to further develop their knowledge and skills in the real school setting where they will find themselves after graduation. Aside from the application of the knowledge and skills, our students' values and attitudes will also be refined or put to test as they handle real learners and experience the success and challenges of teaching and learning in a real learning environment. To ensure a successful internship, the College of Education of Bicol University, in partnership with the Association of Local Colleges and Universities in Region 5, have organized this webinar for you, our partners in the teaching internship of our students, the cooperating teachers. We have organized this activity so that we can level off the expectations of our cooperating teachers, and at the same time, we will also be able to learn about their concerns regarding student internship. So to everyone, may you find this activity fruitful. To the cooperating teachers, may you find joy in guiding our student teachers. We depend much on you to add more to the learning that our students have. What they have learned from us may have been theoretical, but with you, what our students will learn will be the practical side of teaching. So I hope you will find joy in guiding our students. To the partner institutions, that the DepEd, and also the organizers, the Association of Local Colleges and Universities in Region 5, and to the BU organizers headed by Dr. Rico. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to our cooperating teachers so that they can be prepared for the teaching internship of our students. So to everyone, I would like to welcome you once again in this activity. May you have the best experience out of this, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule in attending this webinar. Good morning once again.
Thank you, Dr. Minya, for that meaningful welcome message. Let's give her a virtual round of applause. My dear friends, this webinar would not be realized without having the objectives in mind, and to present to us the statement of purpose. Let us all welcome the Bicol University College of Education Experiential Learning Coordinator, BSED program, Dr. Sherry M. Orozco.
Good morning. My warm greetings to everyone who is on board this morning today. Maulan na umaga po sa inyong lahat. And to those who are in our FB Live, good morning everyone. BUSE Project Ripples, in cooperation with the Experiential Learning Office and the ALCO 5, would like to thank you. We would like to extend our warmest thanks for attending this free webinar on mentoring at work. Allow me to share with you the purpose of this noble undertaking. We all know that the most important and valuable components of teacher education program is teaching internship. Considering the importance of the experiential course, especially in the life of beginning teachers, it is necessary for teacher education institutions to come up with strategies on how the students and the cooperating teachers should be helped as they prepare for the challenging task of teaching internship. How can they be best prepared to become effective teachers will always be important. Because of this, BUSE Project Ripples, headed by Dr. Marcia Rico, our team leader, the BUSE Experiential Learning Office with Professor Arena as the coordinators, and ALCO 5 with Sir Jobert, the president, felt the need to sponsor this free webinar for students and cooperating teachers. In fact, last Wednesday, we had an encounter with our pre-service teachers, almost 2,000 and 3,000 views in our FB Live. What are our purposes of the webinar? First, we want to orient the students and cooperating teachers on teaching internship guidelines. In fact, last Wednesday, we have discussed with them the CMO 104 of series of 2017 and the Joint CHED DepEd Memo number 1 series of 2021. Our second objective is to present grounded and research-based insights on how to become effective student teachers and mentors. Aside from the internship guidelines, we also discussed some tips on how to be an effective student intern and the essential soft skills that they need to develop and enhance. Today, we have 3 resource speakers. They will be discussing very significant topics which will be of great help for all of us. First, we will have the guidelines on teaching internship, guide for cooperating teachers. Then this will be followed by effective mentoring at work. And of course, the most important thing is about self-care for teachers. These topics will be discussed by our very own competent speakers. We will hold an open forum after the discussion. Friends, without much ado, and again, in behalf of the team Ripples headed by our team leader, Dr. Marcia Rico, we would like to thank you. Your presence this morning means a lot. Keep safe, everyone, and good morning once again.
Thank you very much, Dr. Orozco. Indeed, the conduct of this activity is timely considering the fact that the student interns or the fourth-year pre-service teachers are now being deployed. Ladies and gentlemen, we are lucky today because we have here with us the Education Program Supervisor for Filipino of DepEd Ligao City Division and focal person on teaching internship. He will talk about appreciating coaching and mentoring in the context of DepEd system. Once again, let's all welcome Mr. Leopoldo Brizuela. Sir, your microphone, please.
Naririnig ako, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wait lang po, ma'am. Okay. Magandang umaga po sa lahat ng ating mga kasangga sa edukasyon at pagkatuto sa umagang ito. Special mention po sa ating Bicol University President, Shenole Mascareñas, kay Sir Jovert Ofracio, President of ALCO Region 5, sa lahat po ng mga Hello po. Sa lahat po ng mga college administrators, ng mga teacher education institutions ng Region 5 na nakaantabay po ngayon, sa mga focal persons ng internship program ng lahat ng division offices ng DepEd Region 5. Sa technical working group ng gawain ito, ang Bicol University College of Education as the proponent in partnership with ALCO Region 5. Special mention kay Dr. Lorna Mimi, ang ating Dean of College of Education. Higit sa lahat po mga kaibigan, sa ating mga cooperating teachers na nakaantabay ngayon via FB Live and Zoom. Shout out po sa inyong lahat dyan mga kaibigan. Sa ngalan po ng aming masisipag na Schools Division Superintendent at Assistant Schools Division Superintendent ng Schools Division Office of Ligao City, Sir Nelson S. Morales Jr. and Ma'am Maylani L. Galecia. Sa lahat po na nakaantabay ngayon, pagbati po sa inyong lahat. Ikinagagalak ko po na magbigay sa inyo ngayon ng ilang mga paglilinaw, lalo sa lahat ng mga participants, may kinalaman sa teaching internship ng mga pre-service teachers o mas kilala ngayon bilang mentoring and coaching program. Sa pagkakataong ito po, ipaliliwanag natin ang perspektibo ng Department of Education may kinalaman sa tinatawag nating mentoring and coaching program. Ano nga bang mga bagay-bagay na kailangang tandaan at malaman ng ating mga piniling cooperating teachers sa bawat cooperating schools kung saan ay idineploy or idideploy pa lang ng mga PSS natin galing sa iba't ibang teacher education institutions, ang ating mga colleges and universities. Mga kaibigan, binigyan ko po ng pamagat ang aking session ngayong umaga bilang appreciating coaching and mentoring in the context of DepEd system. Sa pagsisimula po, hayaan niyong simulan ko ito sa linyang theory is not enough. Kahawig po ito mga kaibigan ng mensahe ng awitin na pinasikat ng Apo Hiking Society na may mga linyang, kay tagal-tagal ko nang nag-aaral, tingnan mo kupas na ang aking maong, kung akala mo ako ay natuto na, hindi pa rin. Maring sasang-ayon po ang iba at ang iba naman ay hindi. Ngunit, ang narinig po natin na linyang theory is not enough, ang linya ng Apo Hiking Society, ay isa pong malinaw na katotohanan mga kaibigan na hindi nga po nagtatapos sa mga teorya na itinuro sa atin ng ating mga guro, ng ating mga college instructors, ng ating mga college professors para sabihin tayo ng mga mag-aaral sa college ay natuto na. Sapagkat sinasabi ng ating mga dalubhasa, ng ating mga researchers, ng ating mga philosophers, ang pagkatuto po ay isang proseso, ito'y walang katapusan. Bawat araw daw po ay isang karanasan, bawat araw ay isang pagtuklas upang tayo ay matuto, tayo ay magkamali, tayo ay magbago, tayo ay sumubok muli, at tayo po ay muling matuto. Mga kaibigan, hindi lingid sa ating lahat na maraming teorya ang ipinakilala sa atin during those days na tayo po ay nag-aaral sa ating college, sa panahon ng ating college life. Ngunit hindi nga po ito sapat sapagkat pinaniniwala ang pinaka-the best na learning ng isang bata, ng isang mag-aaral, ng isang tao, o ng isang individual ay ang tinatawag nating experience o karanasan. At kahit tayo pong lahat ay patuloy, tayong lahat ngayon, anuman ang estado natin ngayon, ay patuloy pa rin po tayong natututo. Anuman ang estado natin ngayon sa buhay, ito po isang proseso, walang katapusan, isang cycle process. Sabi nga, knowing one subject matter is necessary but not sufficient for effective teaching. Much of the information teachers need to make effective decisions emerges in the context of the practice. Tama po. Ang pagsasagawa o practice sa malalim na konteksto nito ay isang konotasyon o ito ay may konotasyon ng salitang kahusayan. Sa madaling sabi mga kaibigan, kung ang mga teorya sa classroom na ibinigay sa atin at pinag-aralan natin, lalo itong ating mga pre-service teachers na idineploy ngayon sa mga cooperating schools, kung ang mga teorya na yun ay mananatili lang sa classroom or mas malala, kung mananatili lang ito sa pisara, mawawala po ang silbi ng lahat ng mga teorya na ito. Kaya dapat po, ang teorya ay kailangang isabuhay, isagawa, i-practice. At upang pag-ugnayin po natin ang teorya at ang practice nating tinatawag, makikita po natin ngayon sa slide ang malinaw na graphical representation nito. We have the two agencies ng education, ang CHED at ang DepEd na siyang tagapangasiwa ng edukasyon sa ating bansa. Makikita po natin sa kabilang bahagi po kung saan ay nasa ilalim ng CHED ang mga TEIs or colleges and universities na sa kanila kadalasan ang mga teorya sa panahong nasa kolehiyo ang ating mga education students. Sa kanang bahagi naman makikita po natin ay ang kalawang ahensya, ang DepEd, na siya namang tagapangasiwa ng basic education at sa ilalim nito ay ang ating mga cooperating schools isang panggagalingan ng ating sinasabing
Nag-accept ka. Sisyo mo na.
practice or pagsasanay o pagsasabuhay. Now, upang pag-ugnayin natin ang dalawang panig, makikita po natin, pupunuan ito ngayon, itong dala-dala ng icon, hawak-hawak niya yung, ayan, hawak-hawak niya yung kapirasong puzzle, yung PPST. So, lahat siguro ngayon ng ating mga participants na cooperating teachers ay alam kung ano ang PPST. Ito po ay ang Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers. Ibig pong sabihin, mga kaibigan, ang coaching and mentoring ay hindi po bago sa konsepto ng DepEd. Dati na ito, noon pa, kahit sa panahon namin noon, mayroon na nitong internship program. Ngunit, tatandaan lang po natin sa pagkakataong ito na may mga bago na idinagdag, may mga part na idinagdag upang mabigyan ng ilang reforma ang dating kinasanayan sa paghawak ng ating mga pre-service teachers ngayon. At para po sa kaalaman ng lahat, ito po ngayon ay pinapatnubayan ng ilang mga legal na batayan or legal basis na nagsisilbing mandato ng ating ahensya sa konteksto ng DepEd. So una na po rito mga kaibigan, ito yung DepEd Order number 42, Series of 2017, the National Adoption and Implementation of the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers na ninagdaan ng ating kalihim ng kagawaran ng edukasyon, Dr. Liling Briones. Okay. Tanong, ano ang layunin ng PPST sa buhay nating mga guro? At ano ang silbi ng PPST sa panahon ng internship ng mga education students sa mga kamay natin? Ano ba ang napapalaman sa mandatong ito? So the PPST aims to set out clear expectations of teacher along well-defined career stages of professional development from beginning to distinguished practice. Ikalawa dyan ay engage teachers to actively embrace a continuing effort in attaining proficiency. And lastly, apply a uniform measure to assess teacher performance, identify needs, and provide support for professional development. So ito po, kung matatandaan ng ating kaguruan na naririto, nagkaroon tayo ng 5 araw na orientation po niyan or simulation na tinatawag natin sa ating mga division offices. Malinaw na klinaro po yan ng ating mga facilitators sa bawat division offices po natin. At nililinaw lamang po mga kaibigan na hindi po pinabibigat ang task nating mga guro, kundi ina-align po natin ngayon ang current practices sa new set of standards. Okay? So, ang PPST po shall be used as a basis for our learning and development programs for teachers to ensure that they are properly equipped to effectively implement the K-12 program. So malinaw po yan dyan sa DepEd Order number 42 na ating binigyan ng pansin po ngayon para maipakilala natin na ang teaching internship ngayon ng ating mga pre-service teachers or mga education students ay ini-align or nakaangkla na rin po siya sa standard ng kaguruan ng mga guro ngayon na nasa mga permanent hired teachers na ng DepEd. Okay? So now that the DepEd has a new standard for teachers, the department is working on aligning its systems and processes to the PPST. Okay? Kasama po sa prosesong ito mga kaibigan, yung recruitment, selection, and placement or hiring of teacher applicants. Nariyan din yung evaluative assessments, unselected classroom observable and non-classroom observable hiring objectives. Nariyan din yung objectives of means of verification in the results-based performance Management System or RPMS na kung saan ay align po yan sa PPST. So nakaangkla po lahat ng activities ngayon ng ating mga guro dito sa PPST upang hindi po lihis ang mga involvement natin. So DepEd is also working on aligning all learning and development programs dito sa ating tinatawag na PPST. Nariyan din yung rewards and recognition are also being studied to align in the PPST. Ito po yung mga component. Ito po yung mga component kung bakit ginamit siyang legal na batayan ngayon sa teaching internship program. So, kung naalala po natin mga kaibigan, mga mahal na guro na participants natin ngayon, ang PPST natin ay may 7 domains. Sa bawat domain po ay may magkakaibang strands na dapat po nating tutukan, dapat nating unawain, dapat po nating isaalang-alang. Ang lahat ng domains at strands na ito, lahat po ay nakasentro sa paglinang ng kakayahan at pagpapaunlad ng kahusayan nating lahat na guro sa DepEd. Okay? So kasama dyan po, makikita po natin ang 7 domain. Sa domain 1, yung content, knowledge, and pedagogy. Sa domain 2, ay ang learning environment. For domain 3 is diversity of learners. Domain 4, curriculum and planning with 5 strands. Domain 5, assessment and reporting with 5 strands. Domain 6 is community linkages and professional engagement na may 4 na strands. And lastly po ay ang personal growth and professional development na may 5 strands. So ito po mga kaibigan, kung ating aalalahanin sa panahon na nag-simulate nito or nag-orient nito ng 5 araw, inisa-isa po ang mga domain na ito na kailangan ito ngayon ang susundin, ito ngayon ang aangklahan ng lahat ng involvement ng mga guro. Sapagkat ang mga ito, lahat po'y nakasentro sa kung paano papaunlarin ang ating kahusayan bilang mga guro sa field. At bilang pagpapalawak po mga kaibigan sa mandatong ito, ginamit ito ngayon basihan din ng reforma. Take note the word, reforma lang. Kasi sabi nga natin, nag-i-exist na ang teaching internship kahit noong mga panahon. Ngunit ngayon ay nagkaroon ngayon ng kaunting reforma at ginamit po siyang basihan ngayon itong PPST. Kaya pinangalanan ngayon ang program na Mentoring and Coaching Program. Ibig pong sabihin, my dear cities, ang ating pre-service teachers ay dapat na nating sanayin batay sa mga domains na ito sa PPST at sa mga strands ng bawat domain. Kasama po dyan ang paggawa po nila ng daily lesson plan para malaman nila kung ano ba ang content and pedagogy na dapat nilang i-apply, dapat nilang sundin o dapat maigabay natin sa kanila. Kasama po dyan ang paggamit ng iba't ibang mga strategies ngayon. Okay, naka-align po sa mga domains na ating binanggit kanina. Kasama dyan po yung paggamit ng assessment or pagtataya o paggawa ng mga tools. Kasama po dyan yung paano natin sila oobserbahan gamit ang beginning teacher indicators. Di ba yung COT po natin na ginagamit sa atin ng ating mga school heads kapag inoobserbahan po tayo. Ibig pong sabihin, sa panahon na sila po ay nagtuturo, sa panahon na sila po ay nasa ating mga kamay, sa tuwing oobserbahan po natin ay gagamitin po natin ang beginning teacher indicators. Okay? Sapagkat ang ating mga pre-service teachers ay automatic po na sila po ay nakahanay sa first career stage po natin na beginning teachers. Okay? So marami pang mga dapat nating i-orient sa ating mga pre-service teachers na nasa mga kamay po natin, aligning dito sa tinatawag nating PPST. Ang tanong ay bakit? Ang sagot, upang pagka-graduate po mga kaibigan nitong ating mga pre-service teachers, ay hindi na po sila maninibago sa kung anong kultura mayroon sa DepEd at mga proseso na sinusunod sakaling na-hire po sila sa DepEd ngayon. Okay? So, tingnan po natin or balikan po natin ang teacher education program. Makikita po natin mga kaibigan sa slide. Okay? Mula sa FS1 po, tungo sa FS2, at ngayon po ay nasa teaching internship po sila, na kung saan ang tinutumbok nga o ang direksyon ay ang PPST gamit ang beginning teacher indicators. At sino po ang magbibigay nito sa kanila? Walang iba po kundi tayo or kayo ng mga cooperating teachers na napili. At tatandaan po natin na sa FS1, sa panahon ng experiential learning courses ng mga bata, ang FS1 ay nakatuon sa observation of teaching and learning in actual school environment. Tapos na sila nito. Sa panahon ng FS2 nila is participation and teaching assistantship. At ngayon, ito na po sila ang teaching internship. The target of these experiential learning courses is to provide the prospective teachers the venue to solidify and demonstrate the beginning teacher indicators expected from them. So tayo po na mga cooperating teachers play an important role in the implementation of these courses bilang mga coach at bilang mga mentor. Ayan. Dalawa pong mahalagang salita na dapat nating maunawaan sa mas malalim na diwa o konteksto o kahulugan, bakit coach at bakit mentor ang tawag ngayon sa inyo bilang mga cooperating teachers. Okay. So hayaan po nating saglit natin or pahapyaw nating i-define ang dalawang salitang ating binanggit, coach and mentor. So coaching is all about helping transport someone from where he or she is to where he or she needs to be. That is according to Gauthier and Guibert 2006. Ayon sa kanila, hindi lang tayo basta cooperating teacher. Sabi nga noon ngang mga panahon, ang tawag ay critic teacher. Kumaga masakit pakinggan na critic teacher, parang ang dating ay palagi na lang naghahanap tayo ng mali, palagi na lang tayo naghahanap ng kahinaan ng mga bata, itong mga practice teachers natin. So pinalitan po siya ngayon, ginawa siyang cooperating teachers. At sa pagiging cooperating teachers, kasama ang dalawang malagang salitang dinidefine natin ngayon, ang pagiging coach at pagiging mentor. Today, coaching is a structured, sustained process for enabling the development of a specific aspect of a professional learner's practice. Tumutukoy ito ngayon sa pagtulong upang magbago ang isang tao. Ang sinasabi nating magbago, siyempre, sa pagiging mas mahusay pa ng tao o ng bata. Hindi sa mabuti tapos naging masama. Hindi po ang ganoon. So, pag tinulungan natin ang tao na mag-transform, dati na siyang mabuti, dati na siyang magaling, tutulungan pa natin siyang mas maging magaling. At sa konteksto po ng pagsasanay sa mga guro, ang coaching po ay pagtulong sa isang potensyal na guro upang linangin, hulmahin at gawing mahusay sa taglay niyang mga katangian sa mga kompetensi sa pamamagitan po ng sistematiko at sustenidong proseso. Okay? Ang ikalawang salita mga kaibigan ay ang salitang mentor. Ayan. So makikita po natin sa slide saan nanggaling ang salita. Alam na alam po ito ng ating mga English cooperating teachers sa kanilang literature class. So mentor was Odysseus' friend who watched over his estate and family while Odysseus was away fighting in the Trojan War. Okay? So mentor cared, advised, and encouraged Odysseus' son to resist the advances of his mother's suitors and seek out information about his father according to Marzano and Sims. Oo. So dito niya kinuha. So si mentor ay isang character sa Trojan War na kung saan ngayon ay ginamit siya natin sa konteksto nitong teaching internship bilang pagbibigay kahulugan as a trusted friend, a counselor, or a teacher. Today, mentoring is a structured, sustained process for supporting professional learners through significant career transitions. Okay? Ang tanong ngayon marahil ng bawat city na naririto, ayan, may mga nag-chat sa akin. Ang tanong ay, lahat ba ng guro ay maaaring maging coach at mentor? Or lahat ba ng guro ay maaaring maging cooperating teachers? Mga kaibigan, magdi-disclaimer po ako, hindi po ito galing sa akin. Sa panahon po nang nagkaroon ng orientation, national orientation po nitong mentoring and coaching program sa Tagaytay, it was 2019. And fortunately po, ako po yung pinadala ng division office po namin. Sabi ng resource speaker, sa pagpili ng cooperating teacher, may mga qualifications tayo na dapat nilang taglayin. So, kung babalikan po natin ang career stage, ang 4 na career stages po, siguro ay naalala ninyo na ang una ay ang beginning teachers, pangalawa ay profession teachers, pangatlo yung highly proficient teachers, and then pang-apat ay yung distinguished teachers. Okay. Lilinawin po natin mga kaibigan na itong mga pre-service teachers, sila po ay nakahanay sa mga beginning teachers. Okay? And then, tayo po na mga teachers, upon hiring po sa atin sa DepEd, pasok po agad tayo sa proficient teachers. Nasa career stage po tayo. Okay? Ngayon, tanong na, sino ba ang dapat na maging cooperating teacher nitong mga pre-service teachers? Ang sabi ng resource speaker sa Tagaytay, it is the highly proficient teachers, it is the proficient teachers and the highly proficient teachers. Okay. So tayo yon. Sino ba ang mga highly proficient teachers? Kasi in-emphasize kasi talaga ng speaker na yung magiging cooperating teachers should be the highly proficient teachers. At sino ang mga teacher na ito na saklaw ng pagiging highly proficient teachers? Walang iba po, yung ating mga master teachers. Okay? Ngayon, isa ako sa nagtanong sa resource speaker po natin, paano kung may mga teacher 1, paano kung may mga teacher 2 or teacher 3 na mahuhusay at magagaling din? At pwede ring maging cooperating teacher. Pwede rin, sinabi, kaya nga nilinaw na priority pa rin po ay ang mga master teachers sapagkat yun na nga, sila ay pasok sa pagiging highly proficient teachers. Ngayon, dahil sa mga debate na nangyari, dahil sa mga suggestions ng ibang mga participants na naroroon, pumasok doon sa konteksto na second priority pa rin si teacher 3, si teacher 2, or si teacher 1, as long as na-meet po niya, batay sa performance niya sa school, ang kahusayan sa pagtuturo, ang pagiging mahusay na counselor, ang pagiging mahusay na coach, ang pagiging mahusay na gabay dito sa ating mga magiging guro pagdating ng tamang panahon. Malinaw po mga kaibigan na ang mabubuong kahulugan natin kapag pinagsama natin ang dalawang salita na ating dinefine kanina, yung coach at mentor sa konteksto ng edukasyon, ang konotasyon po nito ay paghulma, pagbibigay gabay, or mas pinakamagandang pakinggan po natin yung nagbibigay inspirasyon sa lahat. Okay? So, dahil po dyan, hayaan yung sumaludo ako, magbigay pugay sa lahat po ng educators natin na tunay na nagiging inspirasyon sa ibang tao, lalong-lalo na po sa mga beginning teachers. Okay? So, tayo ngayon, ano man ang estado natin ngayon, alam po natin na mayroon tayong mga hinangaan ng mga guro sa panahon ng ating elementary life, high school or college, na maaring nagbigay sa atin ng inspirasyon. Kung kaya't tayo ay naging isa ring edukador at tayo ngayon ay nagbabahagi ng ating knowledge and wisdom dito sa ibang mga nangangailangan ng ating kaalaman. Mga kaibigan, taon-taon po tuwing ibinababa ang memorandum dito sa amin sa division office po para sa listahan ng aming mga napipiling cooperating schools ng SGU Ligao. Inuulan po ako ng maraming messages or chat. May mga ganitong linya palagi paulit-ulit. Sir, kasabay po pala ako sa cooperating teacher ngayon. Ikaw po ba ang pumili?
035653.
Okay? Sir, kasabay po pala ngayon ako sa cooperating teachers. Ikaw po ba ang pumili? Mga tanong na ganoon, sunod-sunod. Mga kaibigan, ang sagot po ay hindi. Hindi po ako. Hindi ang Ligao Community College. Hindi po yung CAT College. Hindi po yung IDS College. Hindi po yung BUCAF. Hindi po yung BUSIT. Hindi po yung mga TEIs natin ang pumili ng cooperating teachers. Lalong hindi po ako. Sino po ang pumipili dito sa mga cooperating teachers? Sino po? Walang iba kundi sino ang taong mas nakakakilala sa inyong lahat, mga kaibigan. Walang iba po kundi ang inyong mga school heads or sa mas malalaking paaralan ay yung mga department heads. Okay? So, nakikipag-coordinate po ako sa kanila bilang focal person ng division office. Matapos pong matanggap ang letter ng division office, ipa-forward po yan sa akin. And then, eto ngayon, makikipag-coordinate ako sa mga school heads ng mga napiling cooperating schools. At nagbibigay ako ngayon ng criteria sa pagpili ng mga cooperating teachers na ibibigay na pangalan sa akin upang maibaba ko po ang memorandum para sa gawaing tulad nito, pagdalo sa webinar or orientation ng mga ganitong bagay. So kung nagtatanong kayo at bakit kayo ang napili, sabi ko sa mga nagtatanong o nagme-message sa akin, nangangahulugan lang ka ako na kayo ay maswerte na paniwala nyo ang school heads ninyo na magaling at mahusay kayo. Hindi, joke lang po. Magaling po kayo at mahusay kayo, kaya pinili po kayo ng school head or ng inyong department head. Okay? So naniniwala ang inyong mga school heads, department heads na mahuhusay, magagaling, at kayo po ay makapagbibigay inspirasyon sa mga magiging guro na hahawakan ninyo pagdating ng panahon. Ito ang mga pre-service teachers natin. So, bilang mga napiling cooperating teachers, syempre po, tayo ay kailangang may taglay na mga katangiang hindi makapagdudulot ng trauma. Sakit na salita, ano? Taglay natin, yung katangiang hindi tayo magbibigay ng trauma sa ating mga pre-service teachers. Okay. Isang tanong uli. Ano-ano ba ang mga katangian na dapat taglayin nitong mga cooperating teachers na gagamitan ko ng metapora, mga itinakdang gabay? Ayan. Ano-ano nga ba ang mga katangian na dapat taglayin dapat natin bilang mentor at bilang coach? Iyan. The cooperating teacher as coach and mentor, una po, model good teaching. Ayan. So hindi tayo pinili ng ating school head kung wala tayo niyan, syempre po. Mga kaibigan, tinutumbok ng unang katangian na ito ang kahusayan mismo sa pagtuturo. Syempre po, paano tayo makakapag-mentor kung hindi ka marunong magturo? So kasabay po dyan ang mga napapanahong strategies na alam natin na pwede natin gamitin sa bawat uri ng klase or bawat uri ng learners. Kasabay po yan sa ating ibabahagi or isi-share or ituturo natin dito sa ating mga hawak ngayon ng mga pre-service teachers. Paano ba tumayo sa harap? Paano ba pumili ng strategy? Paano ba lilinangin ang kompetensi na ito? Nasa mga kamay po ninyo yan. Okay? Kasabay din yan ang tamang pagpaplano or pagle-lesson planning. So, tuturuan po natin sila ng mahusay. Sabihin man natin na hindi agad nila yan mape-perfect, pero sa loob ng 360 hours na required dito sa teaching internship, ina-expect po natin na sa panahon na nasa mga kamay po ninyo sila, na dahan-dahan po ninyo itong naibigay sa kanila, naturuan po natin ng pakonti-konti hanggang sa pagtapos po ng panahon ng kanilang internship, lalabas po sila ng malinaw, taglay ang mga katangiang inaasahan sa kanila, and heto ngayon, ang husay at ang galing na nilang guro. Okay? Pangalawa po ay observe performance. May mga matang mapangmasid. May lente ng mata na nakikita ang kagalingan ng bawat bata, ng bawat pre-service teacher, at ang kanyang kahinaan. Marunong tayong mag-assess ng kanyang performance. So syempre po, upang magkaroon tayo ng lente sa ibang tao, marunong muna tayong gamitin ang lente ng mga mata natin sa sarili natin. Kaya nating mag-reflect, mag-assess, saan ako mahina, saan ako malakas, nang sa ganoon po ay maaari din natin itong gawin sa ating mga magiging pre-service teachers, paano natin sila gagabayan upang mapaunlad pa nila ang kanilang mga nakikita nating kahinaan sa pagtuturo or sa pagiging isang ganap na guro sa pangkalahatan. Okay? Provide feedback. Malaking challenge pa ito mga kaibigan kung paano ba tayo magbibigay ng feedback ng constructive. Sabi ko nga kanina, hindi traumatic. Okay? Alam po natin na ang mga bata na yan, ang mga pre-service teachers na yan, mga sensitibo pa po yan mga kaibigan. Kumbaga, siguro very active tayong binibigay sa kanila. Sa sarili kong experience ito, very eager akong ibigay noon ng mga panahon na nagiging cooperating teacher din ako. Very eager po akong ibigay at ituro sa kanila. Sa kanila pala ay parang may dating sa kanila na parang napipressure. So, kailangang aralin po ng bawat isa ngayon kung paano natin ibibigay ang very constructive feedback sa bawat weakness na nakikita natin sa kanila nang sa ganun ay hindi offending at sila mismo ay magre-reflect na kailangan paghusayan nila dahil ang ganda ng feedback na ibinigay ng aking cooperating teacher, hindi masyadong masakit sa loob kundi napupush ako na gawin ng mas mahusay pa ngayon etong mga nakita ni ma'am or ni sir na kahinaan ko sa pagtuturo. Okay? Then we have guide, teach, direct, advise, listen, support, motivate, inspire. Ayan, pagsasamahin na lang natin ang 8 magkakapatid na salita. Guide plus teach, direct plus advise, plus listen plus support plus motivate, plus inspire. Sa kabuuan, isang salita lang naman ang ibinibigay nito, inspirasyon. So kapag ang mga PSTs po sa kamay natin ay na-inspire, na-embrace po nila ang hirap, na-embrace nila ang pagod, na-embrace nila na may saya din sa pagiging guro, hindi nila maiisip mag-abroad kahit mababa ang sahod, kahit malampagal ngaya, maghanda o mag-prepare ng mga visual materials ng lesson plan. Ngunit dahil sila po ay na-inspire sa mga kamay natin, 100% po na totally mai-embrace nila na ito yung buhay ng pagiging guro, walang yumayaman pero may saya. Kasi naramdaman nila kung ano ang silbi nila, kung ano ang kagandahan ng pagiging isang guro dahil na-inspire po sila sa ating mga kamay. So, inaasahan po natin na kapag nangyari po yan, na-inspire po natin ang ating mga pre-service teachers sa kamay natin, 100% po tayo na yung batch ng mga educators na galing sa inyong mga kamay ngayon or galing sa mga kamay taon-taon na napupunta sa inyong mga school, taglay po nila yung passion, taglay po nila yung dedication, taglay po nila ang commitment sa profesyong kanilang pinili. Alam kong sasang-ayon sa akin ang lahat ng mga kapanalig ko sa akademyang ito sa aking sinabing ganito. Okay? So there is a need to support cooperating teachers in their role as mentors and coaches for teaching interns. Ito ngayon ang ginagawa natin. Ano? Kailangan din kayong tulungan, i-orient, ipaliwanag, para maibigay po din natin ang tamang paggabay sa mga bata. Okay? Lesson from research, clinical teachers and other teacher mentors should be trained in helping and supporting novice teachers, modeling excellent teaching practice, and exercising positive problem-solving skills. So malinaw po, ano? Ito yung purpose kung nandito tayo ngayon sa webinar, para ma-refresh po tayo ng mga dapat at hindi bilang mga mentors and coaches. Now, uulitin po natin mga kaibigan, hindi po bago ang mentoring and coaching program sa DepEd. Okay? It's not a new concept in DepEd. Dati na siya, mas nililinaw lang ngayon sapagkat inangkla natin sa PPST, and then may mga salitang idinagdag tayo ngayon, yun na nga, dalawang salitang ating nilinaw na bilang cooperating teacher ngayon, mas maganda ng pakinggan na tayo ay coach, tayo po ay mentor. Ayan. Maliban sa DepEd memorandum na, DepEd order na binigay natin kanina, DepEd number 42, series of 2017, yung PPST, pangalawa pong legal basis po natin na ginamit ng DepEd ay ang DepEd order number 35, series of 2016. Okay. So isa pa pong mandato ito ngayon. Ano naman ito? Tumutukoy po ito sa Learning Action Cell as a K-12 basic education program, school-based continuing professional development strategy for the improvement of teaching and learning. Alam na rin natin yung lock session na yan na tinatawag. Okay? So anong nangyayari sa mga lock sessions? Yan, maliit lang na, ang lock session po ay maliit lang na audiensya na ina-address po yung isang tiyak or specific topic upang mabigyan ng solusyon batay sa kung ano ang na-encounter or na-experience ng mga teachers na kailangan ng immediate solution. So pamamagitan po ito ng pag-sharing and then pag-benchmarking ng mga participants upang makakuha tayo ng mga ideya sa iba. So teacher learn and discuss about a specific topic through a LAC resource person. He can be a member of the LAC or someone external, also acts like a mentor and coach. Okay. So the Learning Action Cell is an opportunity to learn from their colleagues and other external coaches and mentors. Yan. Benchmarking. Yan po yung isa sa dati nang ginagawa din ng DepEd na idinagdag po natin dito sa internship program ngayon ng ating mga pre-service teachers. At pangatlo po mga kaibigan ay ang DepEd Order number 43, series of 2017, yung Teacher Induction Program. A Teacher Induction Program Policy. Okay. TIP is institutionalized to provide a systematic and comprehensive support system for the newly hired teachers in order to seamlessly immerse them in the teaching profession in the public school system. A TIP mentor is assigned to orient, mentor, and supervise a newly hired teacher. Ayan. So, ang TIP po, ito ngayon yung time na kapag na-hire na po si teacher, yung newly hired teacher, ay nakapasok na ngayon siya, nagkakandak po ang bawat division offices following this TIP bilang pagsunod sa mandatong ito. Ito ngayon yung dadaan sila sa orientation, dadaan sila sa ilang mga paglilinaw ng mga rules and regulations sapagkat sila ngayon ay hired na sa DepEd. Oo. So, ito yung kasabay ng kanilang pag-take off ngayon sa DepEd. Minsan sinasabay po yan. Kasabay ng kanilang panunumpa sa pag-ako ng tungkulin nila bilang regular permanent teacher ng DepEd. Ito yung orientation ngayon sa kanila. Ano ang mga dapat nilang tandaan ngayon. So, ito po yung pangatlo sa itinuturing na mentoring and coaching sa ating mga kaguruan. Okay? So, coaching and mentoring in DepEd, palaging nariyan. Okay? Si principal, si master teacher, or si department head, sila po ang nag-a-act bilang coach and mentor sa ating mga teachers, mga hired teachers na, mga permanent teachers. At ngayon naman, sa ating mga tayo ngayon or kayo ngayon bilang mga cooperating teachers, ito naman yung tungkulin nyo ngayon upang i-coach at i-mentor itong ating mga pre-service teachers. Okay? So, siguro po sa konteksto ng DepEd, kailangang unawain po natin ang programang ito sa panahon ng internship program ng ating mga pre-service teachers. Ano ba ang advantage na mayroon po nito? Coaching and mentoring of pre-service teachers assist PEIs in ensuring that their graduates will be the kind of teachers needed in the field. With this coaching and mentoring ng sa pre-service teachers natin, natutulungan natin ang ating mga colleges and universities para ihanda na ang ating mga graduating education students sa kung ano yung aabutan nilang kultura kapag napunta na sila sa DepEd. Enable DepEd schools to have a more active role in developing teachers who will eventually be part of their workforce. Okay. It facilitates the transfer of good practices from seasoned DepEd teachers to the future teachers. Yan, seasoned teachers. Isi-share ta nga na. Lalo itong mga mahuhusay na guro, master teacher man yan, teacher 3 man yan, teacher 2 man yan, or teacher 1 man yan na napili ng school head sapagkat nakikitaan siya ng potential bilang isang mahusay na magiging mentor at coach. Ito po yung ating magiging role. I-facilitate natin ang transfer of good practices. Okay? And panghuli po, be an opportunity for professional reflection. So nagkakaroon din tayo ng mga tayo bilang mga cooperating teachers sa panahon na nandyan ang ating mga pre-service teachers sa kamay natin, hindi lang po dapat nating hindi lang po sila ang natututo sa atin, tayo man po ay may mga natututuhan sa kanila. Malay mo, yung mga strategy ng ating pre-service teachers ay hindi mo yan naisip. At ikaw ngayon mismo, pag alis ng bata sa iyong mga kamay, ay makukuha mo yun ngayon at magagamit mo sa iyong mga susunod na klase sapagkat nakita mo ito na ang galing ng ginawa ng bata. Hindi ko pa ito nagagawa. Pwede ko itong itry ngayon. So, nagkakaroon din tayo ng self-reflection bilang cooperating teacher. So, vice versa po ang learning natin. Sabi nga natin, walang pinipiling edad ang ating pagkatuto. Kahit sa estado natin ngayon, matatanda na tayo pa rin ay natututo sa bawat taong ating nakakahalubilo, sa bawat taong ating nakakasama, sapagkat continuous po ang learning. Okay? Napakahalaga po, napakahalaga pong bigyang tuon natin o tutukan ang pre-service teacher education. Sabi, kung nais nating makamit ang dekalidad na edukasyon. Ayan, makikita po natin mga kaibigan sa slide. May tatlong mahalagang bagay sa sistema ng mga nangungunang mga paaralan. Una ay pagkuha ng mga tamang tao na magiging guro, getting the right people to become teachers. Oo, sa hiring yan, nangyayari, ano? Sana, palagi makukuha talaga o mapipili talaga natin yung mga mahuhusay, tamang tao na magiging guro. Pangalawa ay developing them into effective instructors. Hinuhulma natin ang mga napiling guro na ito upang maging epektibong tagapagturo. And lastly is ensuring that the system is able to deliver the best possible instruction for every child. Tinitiyak ng sistema na kayang magbigay ng pinakamahusay at dekalidad na pagtuturo sa bawat mag-aaral. So, kaya nagkakaroon ng orientation, nagkakaroon ng mga in-service training, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga seminar workshop, ng mga webinars na ganito, sapagkat yun po ang tina-target natin. Okay? Okay. So anong magiging resulta kapag nangyari yung tatlong binanggit natin na significance kapag nagawa po natin yon? Walang iba po mga kaibigan. Okay. Magkakaroon tayo ng quality teacher training. Magkakaroon po tayo ng quality in-service teachers na magre-resulta sa quality education. So kapag standardize po itong mentoring and coaching program sa DepEd, magiging madali sa lahat sapagkat may iisa tayong sinusunod. Magkakaiba man po ang ating kultura, saan mang paaralan tayo nanggaling, anong colleges and universities man tayo nagmula at nagtuturo, mayroon tayong iisang sinusunod na programa. Okay? So nagre-resulta ito ngayon sa tinatawag nating quality education na bilang isa sa advokasya po ng DepEd na tinatawag nating sulong edukalidad. Okay? So, bago ko iwanan, bago po ako magtapos, kanina ibinigay na ito ng ating moderator, ito po yung evaluation link natin para i-evaluate din ninyo kung may natutunan po tayo sa ating session. Pakikopya na lamang po ng ating evaluation link. Okay? So, sa pagwawakas po mga kaibigan, iiwanan ko sa inyong lahat, lalo na sa inyong mga chosen cooperating teacher participants sa webinar na ito, at sa lahat ng naririto, na ang pagkatuto po ay walang katapusan saan mang sulok, saan mang lugar. At sabi ni Bob Ong sa kanyang aklat na, aba, nakababasa na pala ako, maraming guro sa labas ng paaralan, desisyon mo lang kung kanino ka po magpapaturo. Sa ganang akin naman, nais kong iwanan sa inyo ang kasabihang, wala nang hahalaga pa, wala nang hihigit pa sa pagiging mahusay na tao ng isang guro, kundi ang hulmahin po natin ang ating sarili. Sa atin po magsisimula palagi yan. Sa lahat, nais kong i-acknowledge ang mga references po ng ating session. Okay? Kay Dr. Evelyn Chavez, kay Dr. Hoxon, at kay Dr. Lampos. Maraming salamat po sa pakikinig. Naway po may naibahagi tayo na kaalaman para po sa inyong lahat ng mga cooperating teachers. Okay?
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Brizuela, sa iyong komprehensibong pagtalakay sa topic na ito. Indeed, theory is not enough. Ang teorya ay kailangang isagawa o i-apply. Kailangang mai-practice, ika nga. Yan ay may sasagawa sa tulong ng mga cooperating teachers. Because cooperating teachers are the key persons in the student internship program, for they are the coaches, mentors, and guides who share their expertise and educational experience to their student interns. Sa muli, maraming salamat po at bigyan natin si Sir ng masigabong palakpak. Okay, and we also would like to greet Sir Leo. Happy birthday. Birthday mo pala ngayon.
Ma'am, prank po
Happy
yan, ma'am.
birthday,
It's
sir.
a prank.
Oh, it's a prank. Sorry.
Oo. Oo, pero salamat po. Salamat po sa pa-advance. February 20 pa po.
Okay po. Thank you very much, sir.
Opo.
Okay. So we will now have, ladies and gentlemen, the open forum. To the participants in this room and FB Live, please post your questions in the comment section, or you can utilize the raise hand icon so that you will be recognized. Okay. Sir, there is a question here, and we
Yes, po, ma'am.
received this via messenger. May mga student intern po na na-deploy sa ibang cooperating teachers na hindi nila major. Like Filipino major is asked to teach in senior high, media, and information literacy. And an English major is asked to teach practical research. Ano po ang masasabi niyo dito?
Hala. Concern po yan. Thank you po for that question, ma'am. Concern po yan, ma'am, ng school head. And then, kasi sa amin, sa division office po, ma'am, ano po yung konteksto ng ligaw po, malinaw po yung instruction, yung pakikipag-coordinate ko po sa school head kung early childhood yung i-deploy ng mga practice teachers or pre-service teachers, kasi hindi naman kakayanin ng lahat ng kinder teachers kasi kakaunti ang kinder. Kaya pinapili ko yung school head ng K-3 o kinder to grade 3. So makikita po, pag early childhood, ang piniling cooperating teachers is mula kinder hanggang grade 3. So kung may ilang mga nagtatanong kung bakit ang early childhood may nasa grade 2 or grade 3, yun po yung isang dahilan po sapagkat kakaunti ang kinder teachers. Now, doon naman sa secondary, malinaw naman po siguro yan, alam ng school head na kung ano ang major ng batang dinala sa kanila, ay yun ang tuturuan. Sa amin sa Ligaw, so far siguro, sana hindi yung nagtanong ay hindi taga-amin, kasi pupuntahan ko yung school. Siguro, mag-feedback din si cooperating teacher ngayon, mag-feedback si pre-service teacher, mag-feedback po siya sa kanyang professor sa teaching internship, nang sa ganun ay pupuntahan po ng focal person ng teaching internship yung school upang ayusin po ang ganoong problema. Kasi kawawa naman yung bata, kawawa naman yung pre-service teacher na hindi naman ito yung kanyang linya, tapos yun ang tuturuan niya. Okay, so far siguro sana hindi yung tagaligaw, kasi basically po, kailangan kung ano yung major ng bata, yun po yung kanyang hahawakan din sa panahon ng kanyang internship. Okay po?
Okay po. Thank you, sir. Sa tingin ko po, hindi naman tagaligaw. May follow-up po. Paano po if si school head ang nag-assign? Sabi dito.
Hala. Ayun, siguro ang pinaka-the best na po niyan ay mag-feedback po si pre-service teacher sa kanyang internship advisor para magkaroon sila ng malinaw na pag-uusap-usap po para masitil po yung ganong problema. Kasi hassle po yan sa pre-service teacher, naunawaan po natin yan, kahit siguro ako, Filipino major ako, at tapos bigla ako mag-TLE. Ano ang alam ko sa TLE, di ba? So, obviously po, hindi ko maibibigay yung the best ko para dyan. Not unless na-hired na ako sa isang maliit na school. If I am not mistaken, when I was hired noon sa Albay Division ako, Filipino major po ang inyong lingkod, pero nagturo akong araling panlipunan, nagturo akong MAPE, nag-CAT commandant po ako. Hired na ako, wala nang choice dahil tinanggap ko na. It's because ang liit ng school. Oo, talagang kulang ng guro. Ngayon, dahil dito tayo sa punto na nasa internship pa lang yung bata, naiintindihan ko po ang nararamdaman ngayon ito. Siguro, magkakaroon ng dialogue, siguro, mag-feedback po ikaw, my dear student, doon po sa advisor, internship advisor niya, and then siguro ibibisita yung school para pag-usapan po doon sa cooperating school kung saan idiniploy yung bata. Opo. Yun yung pinaka-best po doon.
Opo, thank you very much, sir, again. Meron po pong isa dito. Nasa chat box po. What is the minimum and maximum number of loads ang pwedeng ibigay sa mga pre-service teachers?
Load. Okay. Ang load ang tinatawag ba yung actually wala masyadong definite na ngaya 2 klase or 3 klase or 1 klase yan. Kasi kumbaga ako noon ito magsi-share ako when I was a practice teacher in junior high school noon, lahat po ng subject ng guro ay tinuturuan ko. So kung mayroon po siyang 5 subject noon, 5 rin akong beses na nagtuturo, tanganing napapractice tayo dahil iba-iba yung atake. Pero ngayon, dahil wala namang ngayon, nagbago na rin siguro. Siguro 2 or depende kung si cooperating teacher, kasi walang definite niyan eh. Cooperating teacher, pinaka-best siguro sa point of view ko lang, mga 2, pero kung gusto ni cooperating ni pre-service teachers na maranasan ang diverse learners sa bawat section, mas magandang ma-explore po niya yan. Kasi bawat klase, bawat section ay iba-iba po dyan ang atake ng isang lesson plan. Ngayon, malalaman po niya, mahahasa siyang masyado, paano niya i-execute ang isang certain lesson plan sa isang magaling na klase at paano niya naman ito i-execute ngayon sa isang hindi kagalingan na klase. Para siya mismo maluluto ngayon sa oras na naging guro siya, ganito pala. But then, dahil nasa teaching internship siya, sa point of view ko, pwede ng 2 or 3 araw-gaan nganing ma-practice masyado. Oo. Wala siyang definite number of loads lang ibibigay na klase siya. Nasa pag-uusap ngayon yan ninyo at sa condition din ni magkakaroon din pa rin naman kayo ng orientation yan sa inyong school with the school head siguro. Opo.
Opo, sir. I think Dr. Sherry Orozco is raising her hand. Ma'am Sherry?
Thank you, Ma'am Bell. Thank you, Sir Leo. Sir, i-share ko lang po sa amin sa Bicol University. It is stated in the appointment of the cooperating teacher that our students should be given a minimum of 2 loads and maximum ng 3 loads.
Tama po ako, Ma'am.
Opo, thank you po, sir. Nasa appointment po yan, sir, ng cooperating teacher namin. And they will be receiving po the appointment soon pag nandito na po sa amin yung matrix na pinapa-fill up pa namin sa kanila. Thank you po, Sir Leo.
Thank you, Ma'am Shi. Tama pala yung suggestion.
Opo. Thank you, Ma'am Bell.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Sherry. I think that's the last question.
Ma'am, may pahabol po ako. Nakalimutan ko. Okay. Kahapon kasi may mga messages akong natanggap asking kung ano ba ang ratio ng paghawak ng bilang ng practice teacher sa isang cooperating teacher. Actually po sa orientation namin sa national seminar noon ng in-orient itong mentoring and coaching program, mga kaibigan, mga mahal na guro na naririto, ang ratio po actually is 2:1. Or 1:2. Isang cooperating teacher, maximum of 2 practice teachers. Yun yung sinabi doon. Now, in the event na marami ang napili na cooperating teachers ni school head, magdadagdag siya. Baka nagsabi ngayon na hindi niya kakayanin. Pero actually, mas maganda nga, 2. 2 yan na nakatutulong sa iyo ngayon sa classroom. Oo. Kasi yun talaga yung minimum requirement. Maximum yung 2 ang 2 yung cooperating teacher na hawak, 2 yung practice teacher na hawak ng isang cooperating teacher. Oo. Nanganing nakikita mo ngayon sino sa hawak mo kung sino yung nakikita mong mabilis yung progress ng learning sa kamay natin. Oo. Pero yun na nga, kung medyo halimbawa si school head nagsabi na aalisin ko itong isa sa'yo, bibigay ko dito sa nakita ko pang pwedeng humawak, nasa school na lang yon, nasa school management na lang po yan, discretion po na ngayon yan ng school head. Pero po, sa ratio po na ibinigay sa national seminar namin noon, 1:2 po. Thank you po.
Okay, malinaw po mga sinabi ni Sir Brizuela. Okay, so thank you very much, sir, again. As our way of saying thank you to our first speaker, we will now award the certificate of commendation. Let me read the text. Okay, Republic of the Philippines, Bicol University College of Education, Daraga Albay. Certificate of commendation is hereby presented to Mr. Leopoldo Brizuela for sharing his invaluable insights as resource speaker during the webinar for student interns and cooperating teachers held on January 25, 2023 and February 1, 2023 via Zoom and FB Live. Given this first day of February 2023, Bicol University College of Education, Daraga Albay. Signed, Marcia Corazon P. Rico, PhD, Project Leader, Ripples, Professor Rafael B. Buemia, BUCE Extension Coordinator. Signed, Lorna M. Minya, PhD, Dean, BUCE, and Gilbert Ofracio, PhD, President, ALCO 5. Thank you very much.
Thank you po ma'am. Marami pong salamat sa lahat. Sana po ay nakapagbahagi po tayo. Thank you.
Opo, sir. Ang daming naibahagi at naging malinaw sa amin ang lahat. May we request the participants to please open your camera for the photo opportunity with Mr. Leopoldo Brizuela. Sir, I'm sure you are too busy. Okay, paki-open po ng camera.
Okay, so we have video. Very good. So we have 7 panel po. Okay. Wear your best smile. Panel 1. Video. And then, panel 2 po. Smile. Okay, panel 3. Okay, hold lang po sandali. Panel 4. Ayan, mga naka-off ang camera sa panel 4. Panel 5. Lapit na po tayo. Panel 6. And panel 7. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat po. Okay. Thank you, sir. This time, ladies and gentlemen,
We will have
Oh, wala kung ikaw sa advisor, ito
Okay, my dear participants, our second speaker is a teacher for 32 years. She will discuss about effective mentoring at work. She is the former Experiential Learning Coordinator, former BUCE Associate Dean, and now the principal of Bicol University College of Education Integrated Laboratory School High School Department. Friends, I have the honor to present to you Dr. Maria Teresa M. Abainza.
Thank you, Madam Abs. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, Ate Ted.
Yes, po.
Yes,
Okay,
po.
thank you. Okay, let me just open my presentation. Okay. All right, so thank you. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us this morning. Thank you to the organizers of this webinar for inviting me. I'd also like to thank the administrators of Bicol University, the officials, and of course, our DepEd partners for the support to this activity. Before I start talking, allow me to greet everyone in the Zoom room and on FB Live. A very beautiful morning despite the clouds and the rains. Thank you for joining us this morning. Perhaps the reason why the organizers invited me to discuss this morning the idea or the topic on mentoring for student teachers and cooperating teachers is the fact that it has been the subject of my dissertation. Hence, it is a topic that is close to my heart. And of course, even when I was still with DepEd, as a master teacher, I have already been planning on mentoring as my advocacy and my my study. So here I am. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts on mentoring. All right, so allow me to start my first slide. Okay, so why would mentoring or why would mentorship be important to student teachers and cooperating teachers? Kanina, Sir Leo already laid out the foundation or the reasons why the mentorship program is very much in place in the Department of Education. But nonetheless, would like to discuss this, not just perhaps as a program, but more like something that we can reflect on as we grow professionally for the student teachers, and of course for us cooperating teachers as we continue growing. All right, so let me I'd like to explain why I have this backdrop. There is a backdrop, there is a design that was given to us, but I opted to have this backdrop as my background of the presentation. Why? You see on the screen a picture of a person on a higher plane lending hand to somebody on a lower plane. I think the objective is clear, to help that person on the lower plane get up on the place where that person is in. So this is very much the idea of mentorship or mentoring. Okay, so let us define what mentorship or what mentoring is. Okay, so The slide says a mentorship is a relationship between two people where the individual with more experience, knowledge, and connections can pass along what they have learned to a more junior individual within a particular field. The more senior the individual, the more senior individual is the mentor, and the more junior is the mentee. Okay. This, however, perhaps might be a very limited perspective on mentoring, as even a senior can also learn from a much younger person, as in the case of reverse mentoring. Pwede naman kasing mangyari na the younger person can also be a mentor to somebody who is more senior. In terms perhaps of expertise, because I must admit that as an older person, perhaps I do not know much about technology. So therefore, there are faculty members from BUSE who would be there for me, to help me. In fact, when I have difficulties in terms of technicalities, they're always there to lend a hand. So it doesn't mean that even when you are a junior or a younger person, you'd always be a mentee. You can be a mentor too, as in the case of technical aspects like the computers or the laptops. Later on, we shall also be discussing other types of mentoring. Okay. All right. So, certainly you already mentioned earlier the difference between coaching and mentoring, but allow me just the same to present these two technical terms, because mentoring and coaching are sometimes interchangeably used, as coaching can also be taken or viewed as a mentoring. Okay, so we see here in this slide the differences. Okay, so sabi dito, mentoring is relationship oriented, whereas coaching is task oriented. As in the case perhaps of basketball, the goal of basketball is to be able sa game to win the game. Okay, to be able to hurdle a particular game. So while the players are playing, you have the coach. Okay, so task oriented. So masyadong focus siya in winning the game. That's why we also see mentoring as a long term, and yung coaching medyo on a short term basis lang. Like for example, only a particular engagement like a contest. So you have the coach who will assist the students in contests, prepare them in terms of skills, and then after that, okay, tapos na. Okay, for example, you have an essay writing contest, you have a padunungan. Okay, so mas short term ang engagements. So another thing is that mentoring is viewed as development driven, whereas coaching is performance driven. Balikan natin yung basketball. Di ba merong coach at merong players, and they're playing for certain companies. Like for example, Alaska, Pure Foods, etc. So merong business aspect na tinitingnan dito yung coaching. Okay? Whereas sa atin, sa profession natin as teachers, iba ang mentoring. It's more of the development of the person in terms of personal and professional aspects. Sa mentoring, kailangan ng program design tulad nitong atin, which is already anchored in the system of the Department of Education. Sabi nga ni Sir Leo, nasa lugar na, in place, very much in place, because it has already been shifted or changed into a program. Kaya sabi niya hindi na bago. Tagal na talaga, even long before I think we even became teachers. Meron ng meron ng mentorship and coaching kasi dumaan din kami sa aming cooperating teachers before. Pero hindi lang nabigyan ng pangalan and hindi siya na-institutionalized as internship program. Okay? So there is a program design needed for mentoring. Whereas sa coaching, since short-term nga, and sometimes dahil nga it's only performance-driven based on certain needs, it can be done as needed. Okay? Mentoring is less easily evaluated for return of investment. Ito yung ROI. Although meron tayong mechanism for assessing the performance of our student teachers, however, yung development, yung growth and development personally and professionally, it cannot be captured only in terms of those tools. Kasi it goes beyond that. However, sa coaching, mas madali siyang ma-evaluate. Pag nanalo, at ito na, meron ka agad na result and yan, bibigyan ka na ng payment kasi meron ngang interest dito, may business interest. So meron ka agad na return of investment. Another aspect is that mentors do not receive compensation. Coaches are paid for services. However, meron din naman tayong konting binibigay sa ating mentors in the Department of Education. BU, I think, provides for us an amount for an honorarium, but that is not enough even for all the hard work and for all the assistance that our mentors give to our student teachers. Kaya nga sinasabi natin ito mentorship kasi hindi naman talaga enough yung payment kung tutuusin for all these things that we are giving our students. Ano po yan eh? That's mentorship. We don't actually wait for compensation for that. Whereas yung coach, of course, meron matataas nga ang bayad sa ibang coaches. It depends on the company or the business owner. Okay? So basically, ito po yung difference ng mentoring and coaching. Okay? Now, who is the mentor and who is the mentee? Okay, tingnan muna natin yung qualifications ng mentors. Kanina, na-mention din ni Sir Leo yung qualification in terms of DepEd. So may question kanina na paano kung naibigay sa ibang cooperating teacher who does not have the expertise. So that is something that really needs to be looked into. Kasi nga, number one requirement for a mentor is that person has to have the expertise and the experience. So sa atin sa academic communities, the mentors come from a diverse career streams. Okay, depende sa faculty needs and career stages. Okay, who are these? They may be our colleagues, our peers, or members of the senior academic leadership team. There might be people we have worked with before in the past, or they might be the people we are working with at the moment. Okay, but definitely it has to be established that these people, the mentor has the experience and the expertise kasi yon ang need ng mentee. Okay? Now, who are the mentees? So dito sa atin sa case natin, these are the cooperating teachers. Okay? Now, who are the mentees? So we are not just looking at this as in the program, in the context of student teachers and cooperating teachers kasi meron din namang matututunan dito yung ibang professionals. So who is the mentee? Okay, the mentee, it says in this slide, is a lifelong learner. So again, in our context, right at the moment, these are the student teachers. However, mentees in reality can be any of us in the small academic communities who take the role of the lifelong learner. So you can consider yourself as a mentee. We can consider ourselves as a mentee at a different point of our careers. So as of now, ako, if you will ask me, I may still consider myself as a mentee because there are other more senior faculty in our rank who can also help me with my current situation. So andyan yung former unit head, yung former principal, Ma'am Mia, who may be retired, but who can be considered also as a mentor. Okay? So much of our work as members of the academic community includes seeking guidance, engaging in significant conversations about our teaching and learning practice. And so we shift from being a mentee to mentor and from being a mentor to mentee through experience. So we bring the acts of mentorship and the acts of mentee depending upon the need or the situation. So hindi naman po ibig sabihin na teachers na tayo, we don't need mentors anymore, because we do. We do. From time to time, we do need our mentors because we do not know everything and we do not have the monopoly of knowledge. Of course, meron din namang mga pagkakataon na we also seek the wisdom of the people who are much wiser than us in terms of many things. Okay, so what are the different types of mentoring? Na-mention ko kanina yung reverse mentoring, but I did not include that anymore in this particular slide kasi yung case na yon ay depende lang sa needs. Okay? Pero in terms of student internship, ano yung different types of mentoring that we can have? Okay, so the first one is the dyad. Okay, this is the traditional dyad mentorship models where the mentees are paired with more experienced mentor. This is often, of course, with the help of the institution. Kaya nga, merong deployment na nangyari and merong school head who paired the student teachers with the cooperating teachers. Of course, kailangan may requirements yun. Okay? Then we have the peer mentoring. The peer mentoring consists of 2 or more people, often similar in experience or rank, interacting as equal mentoring partners to achieve goals that are mutually determined. So you will ask, so paano ba ito? How can this be when we have our cooperating teachers? Yes, my dear student teachers, you can learn from each other. Kayo mismo. If you have your co-student teachers who need assistance in something that needs to be worked on, clarified, then you can be there as a mentor too for your peer. Kasi pwede naman ang peer mentoring. Sa atin, sa context ng cooperating teachers, do we also seek guidance from our peers? Yes. If you empty your cups from time to time, you can learn so much from your peers. Noon sa faculty room, magtitipon-tipon ang teachers, hindi po pinag-uusapan yung mga buhay-buhay ng iba, hindi nagmamarites. Ang sharing noon, in my experience, of course, both with the DepEd and Bicol University, there are times when we group together in the faculty room, we discuss about things that we do inside the classroom. O ako merong ganitong nangyari sa klase ko na student. How did I handle this? Paano kaya kung meron kang estudyanteng ganito? How would you be able to handle this? So if you share ideas with one another, if you exchange thoughts on your experiences, then you are actually doing peer mentoring. Okay? Hindi lang masyadong institutionalized or formalized, but that is peer mentoring. Okay, we also have group mentorship. Okay? This is where one mentor supports a group of interdependent mentees. So perhaps may mga schools na given, for example, a cooperating teacher with 2 or 3 student teachers. Sa amin dito sa high school, since it's a small school, there are critic teachers or cooperating teachers who have 2 or more student teachers. Okay, this is the case of group mentoring. All right. Next, we also have the constellation mentoring. Okay, this is the case when one mentee has multiple mentors who take active interest and action to advance the mentee's development. So, pwede din ba itong mangyari sa case ng student teachers and cooperating teachers? Yes. Okay. There are cases where my student teacher can also learn from the cooperating teacher of another fellow student teacher. Pwede naman po mangyari yon. Okay. So only that you also have to ask permission also from your mentor if in case you also need to consult another mentor. Respeto yon. Okay, respeto yon. Establish mo lang na, ma'am, sa city mo, magpaalam ka, ma'am, itanong ko po kaya kay ganito. Pwede po ba? Okay, so when that happens, that's the case that is constellation mentoring. Okay, then of course, finally, we have the distance mentoring where the mentee and the mentor are in a different location or faculties. Nangyayari ito. Pwede namang maging asynchronous. For example, noon, I think this happened during the pandemic when we had to deploy student teachers at the height of the pandemic. So online yung classes noon. And sometimes to avoid also, contact with the cooperating teacher directly, meron po kaming, since we adopted the flexible learning modality, meron po kaming student teachers na dineploy sa cooperating teachers virtually. Okay? And so, therefore, even the method of advising that the student was done on a distance mentoring modality. Nangyari po yon. And I think that one lesson that we can learn from the pandemic is that we cannot go back, from my point of view, we cannot entirely go back to the face-to-face modality. Pwede na natin kasing ma-adapt kasi meron na tayong natutunan na modality which is the flexible. Bakit hindi natin magamit? Okay? Bakit hindi natin matap even when we already have the face-to-face. So, pwede pong magkaroon ng distance modality din ang mentoring. Okay? In fact, there are also mentors who may not be here in the Philippines. You ask yourself, perhaps not in the context of student-teacher internship, but in some other aspects, nangyari po ba ang distance mentoring? Yes, it can be done. Sa context namin sa Bicol University, merong mga dissertation or thesis advisors who would talk with their advisees abroad. Okay, nasa abroad, nandito yung advisor, nasa abroad yung advisee. So mentoring din po yan. That's distance mentoring. Okay? All right. What benefits or who benefits from mentoring? Okay, so first, of course, the mentor. Okay, even if you are the one who is dispensing expertise or who is sharing experience and expertise, you also have benefits from mentoring. Ano bang benefits? For one, you can reflect on your own teaching practice as you interact with your mentee. Kanina, I think narinig ko si Sir Leo. I was paying close attention to what Sir Leo was saying. Sabi niya, merong strategy na ginamit yung bata or yung student teacher na hindi mo pa nagamit as a cooperating teacher. Pagalis ng bata ay natutunan mo siya sa student teacher mo. So you also reflect on that. So you improve your practice as you interact with your student teachers. And this can be a very rich experience for the mentor. What else? The sense of being able to help somebody who needs assistance is already something that would be would bring benefit to a mentor. Kasi it's a sense of fulfillment. Kung nga naman, maski tayo sa education, sabi nga nila, mababa ang sweldo. Although ngayon, very good na ang sweldo ng teacher, nataasan na. Hopefully, mataasan pa. We are not earning that much, considering that we are honing the future of this country. Pero yung ating fulfillment ay hindi yun mababayaran. Yung fulfillment mo as a teacher, hindi yun basta-basta nabibigyan ng equivalent in terms of money. Okay? So yun, that's one benefit. Another benefit. What else? You also are able to hone your leadership skill. Of course, definitely, because you are helping somebody, you are leading your young teachers, and this is one very good area where you can practice how to become a leader. Okay. What else? It also helps you improve your sense of job satisfaction, that the challenge that is being given to you as a cooperating teacher is something to really reflect on. Kasi it gives you something to grow on. Okay. What else? It also provides you a renewed sense of commitment to your job as a teacher, to your profession. Hindi lang job, but your profession as a teacher, because for me, that is not something that cannot be easily paid. All right. On the part of the mentee, of course, sila yung recipient ng expertise, ng training, ng assistance, ng mentor. So ito, ang dami ng benefits ng mentee actually. Okay? For one, the mentee can gain feelings of being valued and, of course, develop a sense of belonging. There are student teachers who are the point of giving up. When the mentor works hard really and is there to assist the mentee, yun, naibabalik siya sa fold, hindi siya nawawala kasi there is that feeling na somebody cares and somebody helps. Okay. Also, the mentee is also able to share their own experiences with the mentors. Ito, fulfilling din ito sa part ng mentee. Kapag meron din siyang naibigay or na-share sa kanyang mentor, there's also the sense of achievement on the part of the mentee. What else? The mentorship ables to develop confidence among the mentees. So ito yung number one na big advantage. You become stronger, you become more ready to face your student teachers as you face the challenges. Okay. What else? Okay, you are able to get access to educational programs, recognition, and job satisfaction. So, pag may alam yung cooperating teacher na pwede niyong salihan, like for example, competitions for demo teaching, what else? Yung outstanding student teacher, search for outstanding student teacher, you can also participate in that with the help, of course, of your cooperating teacher. And of course, sila yung maguhon sila sa inyo, sila ang tutulong sa inyo para mas mabigyan pa kayo ng fresh perspective on how this can be done or this can be hurdled. All right, so who else might benefit from the mentorship program? It's the school, the institution. Of course, as we are able to hone the mentees or the student teachers, we are able to produce quality teachers in the future. And who will benefit from this all? Of course, the learners. So you are able to help in the improvement of the quality of teaching across the different institutions. All right, yun ang benefit ng mentorship sa mentor, sa mentee, and sa school. Okay, so who is or how can one be an effective mentor? Okay, what are the characteristics of an effective mentor? As cooperating teachers, how can we become very good mentors? Okay, so number one, of course, that person has to be more knowledgeable in terms of experience, in terms of expertise. Okay, it's important that there is something that you can share to your student teachers one way or another. Kasi yun naman talaga ang purpose ng cooperating teacher, that the students will learn from you. Okay, so there has to be a rich content, practical and pedagogical knowledge that you can share to your student teachers. You also have the ability to address teachings in ways that connect. Sabi nga kanina ni Sir, theory is not enough. So there should be a connection that the cooperating teacher should be able to establish the connection between theory and practice. Okay? So, sa bagay, hindi naman, by the way, this does not mean na lahat na lang, what's this? Academics ang pag-uusapan ninyo. There can also be other things that you can discuss aside from the theory and practice. All right, so what else? You also have to be flexible and sensitive to the demands of the task, okay? So while you are sharing your knowledge and expertise to your student teachers, the strategies that they rely on you to help them with. Of course, there are also other things that you can share with them too. Okay? All right. So next one is a reliable role model. Okay. So role modeling is another way of sharing or showing the social, the psychosocial function of mentoring. Okay, so our role models are living examples of values, social learning, values, and what else? Ethics and professional practices. So take note po, cooperating teachers, that you are role models. So mahirap po pag ang role models will let down the mentee. Okay. So ano ba? Parang ang hirap, ayaw na naming maging cooperating teacher. Okay, for example, yung using cuss words even as expressions. Sana naman bawas-bawasan natin if we are so used to this. So we might as well not use this when we are dealing with our student teachers, kasi baka naririnig nila sa inyo, okay lang. Although they're matured enough to distinguish what is right from wrong, mas maganda pa rin yung nakikita nila yung magandang virtue or values from their cooperating teachers. What else? Even yung social media posts also. Baka sabihin ninyo na napaka-rigid naman itong na-mention. But I think it's also our responsibility to be role models in terms of even the posts that we have. Okay? Kasi allow me to take this opportunity to share with you my thoughts on this. Kasi nakikita rin natin yung nagiging evasive influence of social media to our young learners. Merong disinformation, merong misinformation. So tayo as role models of our student teachers also have this responsibility. Makita rin natin sa kanila the kind of posts that we usually have. And you may also be able to talk this out with them para at least opportunity nyo na rin ma-educate sila. And they in turn will educate their students also in the future. Okay? Masyadong matapang ang social media ngayon. In fact, it's already being considered as one of the institutions. Okay, so kung institution yan, mas lalong dapat nating tinuturuan ang ating mga students and student teachers for that matter on what we post on social media. What else? Siguro in terms of coming to class on time, late na sa student teacher. So, paano nyo mako-correct yung student teacher na laging late? Kung kayo din ay late din, okay? So, being a role model, it's your responsibility to show to the student teacher na maging maaga ka. You demand that from them. So, therefore, you also show them that you have to be on time. In terms of personality development, makakatulong kayo. Okay, so you also share with your student teachers the good way of dressing up and caring for themselves para presentable silang haharap sa klase nila. These are ways in which we are able to be role models for our student teacher. Remember, sabi ni sino ba yon sa social learning theory ni Bandura? Okay, people learn by observing other people's behavior. So, kailangan natin ng model para at least yung nakikita nila sa atin is the right way of doing things. Okay. Another characteristic of the mentor is a trustworthy friend. Okay. So, sabi ni Kram, there are two functions of mentoring. And one of these psychosocial functions is to enhance the protege's or the mentee's sense of competence, clarity of identity, and effectiveness in the job. And this can be done, of course, in more informal setting at times. And this is where friendship with your mentee comes in. Okay? So whatever is shared with you by the mentee in friendship should not be betrayed. Okay? So, huwag niyong ipangkwento sa iba. Nag-share yung mentee sa inyo ng kanyang secret in the hope that you will understand that person. Huwag niyo naman ipangkalat sa iba because that is not going to help at all. Of course, as a trustworthy friend, you also have to be accessible at all times. Okay? Hindi yung cannot be reached. When we say accessible, hindi lang through phone, perhaps, you have the time. You have the time to share, of course, with your mentee. Hindi yung nagmamadali ka na, later mo na titingnan. Of course, yung may i-share sa iyo na for checking, for example, you give time to your mentee. Okay? Because that is part of being a trustworthy friend. Another is a willing supporter. Underscore the word willing. Okay? Support, if not willingly given, will not last long. But if it comes from the heart, it goes a long, long way and it even inspires other people. And besides, willingness is something that is sensed by your mentees. Nasa-sense nila yan. Nafi-feel nila kung napipilitan ka lang or gusto mo talaga ang ginagawa mo. Okay? Come to think of it, even as teachers, alam ko yung iba sa inyo, like me, seasoned na or mas matanda pa nga sa akin or mas senior pa. Ayoko nang gamitin yung term na matanda. But more senior or perhaps more seasoned, mas veteran kesa sa akin. Yung willingness is something that is from within. Okay? And our students will know whether we are sincere with what we are doing to them or sharing with them. Okay. Next characteristic, an effective communicator. So strong communication skills are key in mentorship. If you can communicate effectively with your mentee, how will you be able to help them? How will they ever learn from you? Okay? So sometimes mentorship will require tough conversation. Ano itong mga tough conversations? Yung mga perhaps insecurities ng inyong student teachers, yung mental health issues with them. So as a mentor, it's essential that you have the strong emotional intelligence so that you can navigate these waters effectively. Okay. And finally, a transformational leader. Okay, napakabigat na term yung transformational leader. Transformation. Okay, so transformational leadership is a leadership style that can inspire positive changes in those who follow. Okay, what are the characteristics of this leader? Energetic, passionate, enthusiastic. Okay, so how do you do this? How do you do this to your mentees or your student teachers? Give them challenge. You stimulate their intellectual capacity. So give them challenge. Also, you can be considerate. Meron ka namang, even when you are giving them challenges, there are also instances where you have to loosen up. It's just like kite flying for me. Okay, so may times na pag sinabing kite flying, may tuturus ka, kidiit para to let them fly higher. But so that they will not be lost, you also have to tighten from time to time. So, ano lang, be a kite flyer. Okay, that's my own term. Kite flyer lang. And of course, you have to have idealized influence. So you have to walk the talk. So if you're telling them to do this, then do it yourself. Para naman nakikita nila sa iyo. That's how you become a transformational leader. Okay, sandali. My battery is running low. Okay, so let's move on. So what are the characteristics of a successful mentee? Okay, so paano naman, how will the student teachers gain much from this experience, from the internship experience? Okay, so number one, of course, you should be willing to learn. Okay, so you have to embrace the spirit of continuous learning. How will you do that? Okay, learn how to empty your cups. Do not come to your cooperating teacher as if you know already na hindi mo na kailangan ng tulong nila. Okay, you have to be able to leave your comfort zones. Be ready to leave your comfort zones. When a challenge is given, accept it. Okay? Sabi ko sa mga estudyante ko, when you become teachers in the future, I am handling campus journalism now. When you become a teacher in the future and your school head assigns you as the school paper advisor, do not refuse because it's an opportunity to learn. Okay, so parehas din yan sa inyo as student teachers. Learn how to accept challenges. Do not say no na hindi nyo pa naman tinitingnan kung kaya nyo o hindi. Baka naman kaya nyo rin. Ayaw nyo lang subukan. Okay, prepare to try new things or adjust your current way of doing things. So, pag may change, pag may pagbabago, be able to accept the suggestions of your cooperating teachers. Be humble enough to accept these suggestions. After all, they will not give their suggestions, their comments, if they will not help you grow, okay, or learn. Next, be a responsive listener. When we say responsive listener, you listen attentively. So pag may sinasabi si teacher, pay attention. Take note, isulat para hindi makalimutan. You should have your notes after all para mamaya pag gumawa kayo ng portfolio, you will remember all these experiences and it will not be difficult for you to think back what has been said, what has been shared kasi meron kang notes. So you pay attention. Also, you should be able to express yourself effectively. If you have any difficulty at all sa experience ninyo as student teacher, please do not grumble. Please do not do not ever think of this as what's this? Later on, wag ko na sasabihin nakakaya kay madam. You express your difficulty. Tulungan kayo. How can you be helped if you're not going to share with your cooperating teacher how you feel? Okay, so be ready to express yourself to your cooperating teachers. Another is, do not sit on the suggestion. Pag may binigay na suggestion si cooperating teacher, act on it. Gawin nyo kaagad para naman makita ni cooperating teacher that you really are paying attention and you are trying so much to learn. Okay? A committed worker. When we say a committed worker, you have the commitment to mentorship itself. Okay, so you have to be consistent in doing your task. Huwag yung patumpik-tumpik, huwag yung pagka sa sinabi kasing committed, you are able to find what's this? The time and the effort to do the things that you're supposed to do. Okay? And of course, another one is a successful mentee should be a respectful person. Learn to value the experience, the wisdom, the authority of your mentor. Okay? In other words, wag sutil. Okay? Wag sutil. Also, be human enough to understand that sometimes your cooperating teachers also make mistakes. Okay? Huwag niyo ipangkwento, salakman nga ni si madam, nagpaparaano ngaya, sus ko ngaya, basta ngaya magparataram sandi, man ngaya sa ko ipagpapasunod. Okay. If you have something to tell your cooperating, do not tell it to other people. Tell it direkta mismo sa cooperating teacher ninyo. That's respect. That's respect. Wag niyong ipangkwento sa iba yung cooperating teacher ninyo na ay hindi man marunong. Okay, so may maingay. All right, siguro napindot yung unmute. Okay, so all right. As a respectful person, also be able to express gratitude. Learn to express gratitude. Bihira na ngayon ang mga marunong mag-express ng gratitude sa ginagawa. Remember, hindi naman kataasan yung honorarium ng inyong mga mentors or ng yung cooperating teacher. So, yung inyong gratitude is much appreciated. Napakalaking bagay yun sa kanila. Next is successful mentee is an honest individual. Kanina na-mention ko na rin yung expressing one's difficulty personally to the teacher. Dito, you can be you can open up yourself to your cooperating teachers. Yung bang no holds barred, siguro 100% professionally and to some extent personally, okay? So you share your life's decisions, your adjustments, your trials, your travails to your cooperating teacher so that they will understand you better. So maging honest po tayo sa cooperating teacher. Huwag magtatago para maintindihan kayo so that they can help you better. And of course, most definitely, pinakang importante, you should be motivated to succeed. Kasi yung success, it comes from within eh. It's your intrinsic motivation. Okay? So, dapat ikaw mismo, malinaw yung ideas mo, what you want to learn from this internship program. Ano pa ang gusto kong matutunan? Gusto ko talagang ma-maximize yung experience ko. So, therefore, ikaw ang number one na magtatrabaho dyan. Okay? So, your motivation should come from within. Tutulungan ka. Why not? All right. So, how does mentoring work? Okay. Ito yung practical tips ko from experience, how mentoring can be best achieved. Okay. The first one is define goals. Who define goals? Of course, the mentors will help the mentee define their goals. They should not be the one to decide the goals for the mentees. Pero alam naman natin na, of course, ang pinakang importante is ma-hone sila, ma-practice sila in terms of teaching. Okay? So, pero ito pa rin ha, the goal should come from the mentees kasi it diminishes kung ito galing sa inyo, it diminishes the mentee sense of ownership. Okay? And sometimes it leads to frustration on their part. So sila dapat sa kanila magsisimula yung goal setting. You may help them by asking them relevant questions on what they want to achieve. And then, of course, you may also help them craft their personal mission statements. Okay? Number 2, remove power dynamics. Ano tong power dynamics? Okay, so ito din, may share ko din ito sa cooperating teachers. Hindi lang po tayo as cooperating teachers, but with our peers also. Sometimes it's so difficult when parang laging bit-bit mo ang corona mo. From time to time, remove that crown and be able to meet halfway with your mentees. Yung parang hindi ba pressured sila into thinking na there is that power na any moment they will be judged, anytime they will be criticized. So make them feel comfortable, make them feel as if they are not being placed on hot seats. Okay? Second is observe consistency. Be consistent, but do not confuse consistency with rigidity. Sabi ko naman, paminsan-minsan, pwede naman nating i-relax yung rules natin. For example, submission of LPs. Of course, you have to be definite on deadlines kasi you have to check, then you have to return to them, they have to revise, and then pag may mali pa, you have to check. So give them enough time. Wag naman yung bukas na magtuturo, saka ka palang magbibigay. Ngayon ka palang magbibigay ng iyong topic to be taught for the students. Wag po. You give them enough time to prepare, okay? That's being flexible, okay? So you meet halfway. You meet halfway with your mentees. Okay? I-relax nyo din. Pero pwede naman halimbawa merong activity sa school, merong mga ibang factors, then you can also relax your deadlines. Napag-uusapan po yun. Second, there should be a two-way feedback. Importante po ang feedback in any program. There should be an evaluation. There should be feedbacking. Why? Because this is where the mentees grow. So after ng teaching, for example, merong post-conference, ensure that this is done appropriately. Pero ang sinabi ko dito, two-way. Can mentors also accept feedback? Yes. So tayo po on our part as mentors, be also be down to earth also to listen to your mentees. Baka meron po naman silang gustong sabihin sa inyo na makakatulong din sa kanila at sa inyo to help improve the process of mentoring. Okay? So it should be a two-way feedback. Pwede niyo pong gamitin yung sandwich process kasi yung feedback, even if it's intended in a positive way, can be taken negatively. So paano po natin gagawin na very good ang feedbacking natin? You can do this if you make use of the sandwich approach. Okay? The sandwich, how does the sandwich approach work? Okay? Una po, bigyan niyo muna sila ng something good, yung premise. Ako, I like the way you teach. You've done a very good job this past few days. Maganda yung ginawa mong ganito. Okay? That's the good. That's the bread muna. Pero yung meat ng criticism mo. Pero you know what? You can also improve on your strategy. Pwede mo kasing gawin na ganito. Okay? Yan na yung meat ng iyong criticism. So after giving the criticism, okay, ibigay mo naman yung panghuli, yung which is something good again. So all in all, maganda yung iyong performance. And I think there is always a room for improvement. There's always something that you can work on to achieve something great, something better. Okay? So, ano po, feedbacking, sandali po, merong tao. I already gave instructions. Sandali lang po ha, for a while. For a while, I just have to do something urgent. Sandali lang po. Okay lang.
Hello, everyone. If you have questions, just reserve them. We are going to have the open forum later.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry for that because there's something very important that I needed to attend to. I think that's the price of being a school head. Sometimes even when you are faced with something equally important to do, you can just put off something. So sorry for that. Okay, so as I was saying, yung feedback approach, very important, very necessary po yun sa atin as cooperating teachers. This way, the student teachers will not feel so bad about a negative criticism because you do the sandwich approach. Yung maganda muna, then yung real thing, yung talagang gusto mong improve sa kanila, and then tapusin mo ng something positive. That way, they won't feel so bad even if you are giving or dishing out something that is not good. Okay, I think familiar tayo nito sa DepEd, di ba? When we talk to the parents about the behavior of the children, okay? So hindi mo kaagad ibibigay sa parents, oh, yung anak mo ang sama-sama. So you give them first, your child is doing great in school and in some aspects. Kaya lang, may kaya lang. And then tatapusin mo ng maganda. Okay, so at the end, pero pwede na po natin pagtulungan. We can work together on this and I'm sure that your child can be helped. Okay, it's the same way for our student teachers. When we critique, when we give comments and suggestions, use the sandwich approach. Okay, and then finally, Sana ba? Parang nag-lag na yung aking ayan. Next, this is very important. I think I mentioned this earlier to the mentors, how you can be accessible. So number one, both for the mentors and the mentees, be accessible. You have to check in on each other from time to time. So make sure that you are reachable. Okay. So when you can't meet up your mentee in a person, try to at least touch base asynchronously. Okay. Kasi it keeps the momentum going. Okay. Another thing is for the student teachers, if you cannot report to class, then tell your cooperating teachers in advance. Wag naman po yung oras de peligro na sasabihin mo, ay teacher, sorry po, I cannot come to class today. Diyos ko, paano naman yan kung si teacher ay hindi naiwanan niya. Well, of course, the cooperating teacher should always be ready even when the student teachers are not around. Kaya lang, paano kung hindi niya nadala yung kanyang visual aid or yung kanyang gagamitin sa pagtuturo? So you have to be prepared. Okay? You have to tell your cooperating teacher in advance na hindi kayo makakapasok. That way, at least the teacher will also be ready. Okay? What else? So finally, the last part is naghahang. Okay? I don't know what's wrong with this. So the last part is accept accountability. Okay? So define what is on and off limits so as not to send mixed signals. Okay? So you have to be definite on what are personal and the professional aspects of your relationship. Now, this doesn't mean, however, that you cannot be personal with your mentee, because you can. You can also be personal with them. Kailangan naman kasi yung personal na relationship. Why? Because you have to build rapport with your student teachers, but you have to set the boundaries. For example, ano ba yung time na pwede kang i-contact nila? Baka naman midnight na din, magsisend pa ng message or tatawag pa. Unless, of course, it's an emergency. Why not? Okay? But you also have to meet halfway as regards these aspects. What else? Yung personal topics. To what extent do you share personal topics? Wag naman yung the secret of all secrets, ikikwento nyo pa sa student teacher ninyo. Mamaya, nagamit yan against you. So you also be able to talk about these things. So the key is to be open and communicative about these boundaries. This prevents confusion and hurt feelings down the line. Okay, so masyadong mahirap ang aspect ng accountability because there are also times when sometimes you do not know how to draw the line, and this is where the trouble comes in. And I think for us to avoid this trouble, we have to be definite about what's allowable and what's not allowable. Okay? Moreover, remember, dear mentors, that you have a responsibility over your mentees. They have been entrusted to your care when they were deployed by the EL coordinator and by the school administrator. So you play a significant role in their professional and personal growth. When they leave your care, when they end their internship, they should have learned and developed. Okay? They should be ready to face their responsibilities in the future as full-fledged teachers. Hindi na nag-work ang aking slide. Ayan. Okay, so that's it. That's accepting accountability. So I guess this ends my discussion for this morning. I'm also sharing with you the references where I got the presentation. And of course, let me share this. This is from Steven Spielberg, one of the most noted filmmakers in the movie industry, sabi niya, the delicate balance of mentoring someone is not creating them in your own image, but giving them the opportunity to create themselves. Okay, so one of the creators of the best movies like ano ba? E.T. Panahon ko E.T. Okay, so we all do our things in our own ways so that in all things God may be glorified. That's from St. Benedict. So please do not forget to evaluate the session through this link. Ito, bilin ito ni Sir Pap. Ibigay ko daw sa last slide para daw hindi makalimutan. And I think our technical committee also had this posted in the chat box, yung link po. So I guess that's it. Thank you for listening, and you may now shoot your questions. And ko na po stop share.
Okay. My dear participants, you can now have your questions. You can use the chat box. I think there is. Okay. That goes to show, Dr. Abayinza, that your discussion is clear. So there are no questions. Thank you very much, Dr. Abayinza, for sharing with us some tips on how to become effective mentors and on how to become successful mentees. You are really such a great mentor. Okay. So I think we can have the next speaker. The certificate of commendation will just be awarded Madam Tet later.
No problem, ma'am. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Pamilya talaga, Ma'am Tet, no?
Of
Okay,
course.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you po. Ladies and gentlemen, our third speaker is a registered guidance counselor. Hence, she is the former guidance counselor of the Bicol University Graduate School. She is currently the program advisor of BS Ed Values Education and Master of Arts in Guidance and Counseling. Friends, let us listen to Professor Maria Elena C. Ahoro as she discusses self-care for teachers.
Good good morning. Good morning, everyone. Can I be seen, Belle? Okay ba?
Yes po.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, to the cooperating teachers on board and to my colleagues. Good morning. So let me start by sharing my screen. For a while. So let us just have a little bit of sort of a break for a minute or two. Let me just open my screen. Okay. For a while. And let me just put this there. And let me just go to my screen. Dali lang ha. So, kasi nasa baba siya. Can it be seen now? Okay na po ba?
Yes, po.
Okay, so let's start. I will just put this here. So my topic assigned to be by Madam Mars, by Dr. Rico, is self-care. So to start with, let us have this first. So I have here pictures of self-care. So maybe please feel free to maybe have what you call, put it in the chat box. What do you notice in the pictures? Anything that you notice? Anything that you like about the pictures? Belle, can you just please alert if there are certain, what do you call this, messages, if they would like to participate? But first thing first, if you notice, these pictures are dominated by what? By female pictures. Diba? Parang the irony of it all, bakit? Ang self-care ba? Only for the kahit madaming gawa, sabi ni Madam Rico, taking care of oneself. Yes. Okay. Taking care of oneself, etc., etc. Okay, so there are certain things. So, but if you notice, I was saying a while ago that this could be dominated by female pictures. So I had to look for another picture that also depict the male. So in the center, if you would notice, there's the male picture. So definitely, self-care is not only for the female, but also for the male faculty. So what we have here. Another thing that you would notice, what are the things that in the picture that you could pinpoint? There are certain things that, let's say, there are what you call hearts in the picture. So you would have it in the first picture, second, and the third. So self-care is love, loving oneself. Another that you could have it, that there are what? Plants. And what is the, how do we put it? How can we relate the plants to self-care? It is said that, yes, definitely, self-care is loving oneself. It could also be that if we have what you call self-care, we are blooming. Plants do bloom. Flowers bloom. Thus, almost in all the pictures except this, it is said that we have what you call the plants, the flowers, which is what you call related to blooming. So everybody should be able to practice self-care for us to be able to bloom. It is said also, so let me just have this. So it is said also that part of our talk is supposed to be the situation in our organization, particularly our situation maybe in our own agencies. So according to this particular research, stress and depression in the workplace of educators in the Philippines. So this is based in a 2021 research. Workplace stress and depression should be treated properly in order to maintain productive teaching as the noblest profession, definitely. Our profession is the noblest profession. So unmanaged stress and depression could lead to a serious outcome that affects the happy environment in the classroom. Sabi nga, di ba, in our homes, we have this particular saying, happy life, happy wife. So ganun din yung siguro, yun ano? If we would have it, that a happy teacher makes a happy classroom. So thus managing stress and avoiding depression in the workplace is one of the important situations that the teacher should aim in order to succeed. We should be able to practice self-care for us to become a successful teacher. So, the conclusion of this study, the level of stress and depression is high among teachers teaching at the lower levels, such as kinder, elementary, and high school. it was also shown that workplace stress and depression is lower in vocational and college level. It is recommended that the government and administrator should look at the possible intervention to minimize the level of stress and depression of educators. So, what particular reason perhaps? Maybe you can again put it in the chat. How come that in the lower levels, according to this research, there is what you call a higher level of stress when it comes to kinder, elementary, and high school teachers? Maybe we can all go back to the child and adolescent development wherein teachers teaching at this particular level would have what? Maybe bigger classes. And at the same time, the kind of development of these children, they are at what they call this, at their height of their development. Thus, it seems that they would have more concerns, more issues. Maybe in terms of maturity level, they would have lower maturity level. Thus, teachers would have a harder time dealing with this particular children or with this particular adolescents. So if you have other, what do you call this? If you have other issues or rather concerns, or maybe you have another point of view, then maybe you can share it. Okay. Next, another research that we have here is the Filipino teacher stress levels and coping strategies. This is in before the pandemic. This was done in 2017. The world in which we live and work is surrounded by challenges. How well a person handles challenges can enrich one's life, since it is stimulating and renewing. But when a person faces challenges poorly, this response precipitates to a state of stress that is potentially dangerous to his performance and wellness. So the kind of coping that we have, the kind of strategy that we implement would definitely affect the overall makeup. So, paano ba natin ina-handle ang ating mga stress? What could be the stress level of Filipino teachers based on this particular study? Now, maybe you would find this a little bit, well, definitely we can relate to this. The 5 most common sources of stress for these teachers are as follows. Having too much paperwork, 52%. High cost of living is 51%. Insufficient salary and other money concerns. Nagbaba na daatabi so sibuyas. Then you would have what you call oversized classes, being too busy. Well, for women, for the female faculty, especially for those who are married, we have numerous roles. So we have what we call simultaneous activities as being enrolled in school, being employed. We have also parenting, community service, and so on and so forth. Well, for the male faculty, let us not also set aside their other roles as a father, maybe as a school head or whatever other concerns that the male faculty also has. So having too much paperwork can be a consequence of having oversized classes. The more kids, the more students to handle, the more paperwork to do. For other agencies or for SUCs, we also have different accreditation. So we would have what you call the accreditation yearly, or we may have it every semester. So definitely it also adds to certain stress levels of faculty. The next, we also have, so for the most common sources of stress, what are the most common sources of stress for public school teachers? The most stressful problem is insufficient salary and oversized classes. Agree or disagree with this? Okay, so maybe if we could have, I would like to see certain, maybe thumbs up for some of our colleagues, for the participants. Do you agree that one particular thing that is quite true is that we have what you call problems in terms of salaries and oversized classes? The other most common sources of stress, being too busy and having too much paperwork, equally affect teachers of any age, whatever the civil status is, the years of experience, and whatever level or kind of school, be it private or public, they teach in. So it is what you call the same. Kung mag-public pa yan, mag-private pa yan, but because of this particular common sources of stress, we have certain manifestations, and it also affects our work. Okay, what are the coping strategies of the teachers based on this particular research? Most teachers find, well, one, watching television. I think this is the easiest for us to be able to relieve our stress, 64%. Two daw is window shopping at malls. Well, if you live near the city, if you are teaching here in Legazpi, well, definitely window shopping in SM for that matter. Watching sports on television, going to the movies, doing deep breathing and relaxation exercises. Although the method mentioned are positive, but most of them are sedentary. So, sample here, sedentary masyado yung watching television. Even at times in the deep breathing exercises, it is said that we need to move, we need to become active. So, as much as possible, moving, exercising is better. Okay? So, many more male than female teachers and more elementary rather than high school teachers watch television. So, this is according to the study. Window shopping and watching movies mostly done by young single teachers. Incidentally, those with less teaching experience. So, that was the study. Maybe they would have more time. And maybe they would have more, maybe spare money to what do you call this, to spend. Thus, they are the ones who can go window shopping and watch a movie after classes. Okay. So, teachers' recommendations. So, maybe you could also relate to this. That teachers' personal recommendations for relieving stress in their workplace is one, air conditioning daw. Enough workspace. Summer vacation. Definitely, it would be better maybe if the summer vacation is also part of, maybe a part of it is being financed by, maybe by the agency where you are working. So definitely that could really lessen the stress in terms of the financial considerations. Learning to be contented with what you have, avoiding conflict with co-workers, where you have also daily prayer, decreasing tension, especially with superiors, sharing encouraging words with each other, being humane and understanding individual differences. There should be what you call discipline, enough facilities which are accessible, a spacious faculty room, well-ventilated room, clean and orderly place, less paperwork, and to stop gossiping about co-teachers. So these are the teachers' recommendations for that particular research. Again, if you would like to go back, saan ko ba to nakuha? This is the study, Filipino teachers' stress levels and coping strategies, just to emphasize. So, yun yung kanilang recommendations. So maybe you could have what you call a checklist. Which particular recommendation you have already in your workplace, or which particular recommendation you are already doing it. Okay? So before anything else, let us now have a self-care assessment. So in the self-care assessment, these are the activities, things that an individual does to maintain good health and improve well-being. Many of these activities are already part of your normal routine. In this assessment, you will think about how frequently or how well you are performing different self-care activities. The goal is to help one learn about self-care needs by finding patterns and recognizing areas of one's life that need more attention. So, alin kaya sa mga ito ang ginagawa mo na? Okay? So, let me go to this. Can you see for a while? I think I have to share again. Okay. So I have this. Sorry. Wala. Wait. Pasensya. Okay. So we have. So if you can see, so let's start with this. Sorry. Okay. So here, self-care activities, as made mention a while ago. So in this assessment, you will think of how frequently or how well you are performing different self-care activities. The goal of this assessment is to help you learn about your self-care needs by spotting patterns and recognizing areas of your life that need more attention. Okay? Because definitely these things, we are doing it already, but all we have to do is to check, assess ourselves, how often do we do it? Or do we really do it? So at times it is said that it may be very common, but the thing is, or we may be doing it, but how often? Okay, so I suggest, please, that if you could get a scratch paper and maybe you could just put 1, 2, 3 or a star. So there are no right or wrong answers on this assessment. There may be activities that you have no interest in and other activities that may not be included. This list is not comprehensive, but serves as a starting point for thinking about your self-care needs. So for number 1, so you would have it that you have only to choose. 1, I do this poorly. Number 2, I do this okay. Or I only do it sometimes. I do this well. Or I do this often. Or yung star, I would like to improve on this. In other words, you are doing it already. But the thing is, maybe you want to enhance of how you're doing it. Or maybe the frequency on how you're doing it. So it's a star. Okay, so let's start with the items. First, we would have the, a little bit higher perhaps. So you would have it. So 1, 2, 3 lang ha, and star. So number 1, eat healthy foods. Next, take care of personal hygiene. So I hope you are marking. You can just, what you call this, put it on your scratch paper. Exercise. Wear clothes that help me feel good about oneself, about myself. Eat regularly. Participate in fun activities. That's walking, swimming, dancing, sports. Get enough sleep. Go to preventive medical appointments, checkups, teeth cleaning. So in other words, you would have what you call your annual or your semi-annual checkup perhaps. Then you also have here rest when sick, overall physical self-care. So what do you have? Okay. So next, you now have here the psychological, emotional self-care. By the way, this particular self-care assessment is said to be holistic. So we're going to have it comes to physical, then we would have psychological, we would have social, spiritual aspect. Okay. So for self-care assessment, psychological, do you take time off from work? Is it a 1, a 2, a 3, or a star? School and other obligation, participate in hobbies, get away from distractions. Do you turn off your phones, in other words? Learn new things unrelated to work or school. express my feelings in a healthy way, recognize my own strengths and achievements, go on vacations or day trips, do something comforting, watch a favorite movie perhaps, take a long bath, find reasons to laugh, talk about my problems, overall psychological and emotional self-care. So overall, what do you have? Does this need improvement? Okay. So social self-care. Spend time with people who I like. Call or write to friends and family who are far away. Have stimulating conversations. Meet new people. Spend time alone with my romantic partner, if you have. Ask others to help, or rather ask others for help when needed. Do enjoyable activities with other people. Have intimate time with my romantic partner. Keep in touch with old friends, either through emails or chat. Overall social self-care. Okay. Then 1, 2, 3 again. What about spiritual? Do you spend time in nature? Meditate, pray, recognize the things that give meaning to my life, act in accordance with my morals and values, set aside time for thought and reflection. Do you reflect? Participate in a cause that is important to me. Appreciate art that is impactful to me. Music, film, literature, and overall spiritual self-care. What about professional care? Do you improve on your professional skills? Is it a 1, 2, or 3, or a star? So let me just repeat that 1, you do it very poorly. 2, it's okay. You do it sometimes. 3, you do it really well. And the star is said to be if you would like to improve on it. Okay? Say no to excessive new responsibilities. Take on projects that are interesting or rewarding. Learn new things related to my profession. Make time to talk and build relationship with colleagues. Take breaks during work. Break could be, you can go to the canteen or maybe just standing up, breathe, stretch. Maintain balance between my professional and personal life. Keep a comfortable workspace that allows me to be successful. Advocate fair pay, benefits, and other needs. Overall, professional self-care. What do you have? Okay. Now, with these particular items, what particular number do you have? So maybe in the chat, you could, so let me just shift to the other, to my screen.
Recording stopped.
Huh? May napindot ba ako? Okay. So we are, for a while, in the okay, so kindly look at the things that you have, what you call, in terms of the numbers, how many number 1s, how many number 2s, do you have more when it comes to, maybe you could see ilan yung inyong mga linagay dyan. Is it dominated by 3s? Is it dominated by 2s or by 1s? Okay? So feel free to put it in the chat, whatever that you have. Okay, let me go now to the next slide. Okay. So in the next slide, you have here, sorry. So in the next slide, so you have here self-care for educators. So sa self-care for educators, so this is what you call in a picture, no? If we would have it in terms of the picture, what do you have, no? Are you doing this? Let's say, for example, treat yourself when you need it. Do you go to coffee shop, perhaps? Diba? Kasi parang at times it's a luxury to go to coffee shops. Remember to start fresh every day, or you go to, maybe you spend time to go to, well, spending time with friends, having tea, having coffee, mga ganyan. So remember to start fresh every day. So definitely be thankful, be grateful that you have, that you are awake, that you were able to wake up, and at the same time, embrace life, diba? So connect with uplifting colleagues, do physical activities you enjoy, etc., etc. Okay, so let us now go to the self-care tips. For a while. Okay, for the self-care tips, there is what you call number one, picture this. I do suggest that, well, it's just in our minds, no, that we have to have what you call a toolbox. And inside the toolbox, we will be organizing the different self-care tips or self-care practices that we can use. Well, this should be well organized, definitely, because if you will not organize this, it could add to your stress level. So it will not be anymore a self-care tip. So what we have is that there could be certain partitions in your toolbox that you would be able to get, that you would be able to retrieve if it's needed. Okay? So inside the toolbox, one, it is said, schedule fun activities, being creative, physical, and energizing activities. So a while ago, I said, we need really to exercise. Surround yourself with positive people. Limit exposure to those who are negative. Get adequate sleep, exercise, and nutrition. Take time for yourself. Schedule time for yourself each day. No matter how you do it. So let's say, for example, again, I just mentioned that you just going to the canteen, perhaps, walking around the campus, walking around the school grounds, is already spending time alone, and at the same time, you are spending time for yourself. You are more likely, it is said that create a schedule. Create a schedule, so maybe I was not able to highlight this. Create a schedule, not just for the school day, but for the rest of the day. Maybe you can just put it on your phone. What are the things that you have to do? So maybe not really every hour or whatever, but important things that you have to do so that you will be reminded to do it. So have a schedule. Put it on your phone. You are more likely to reach your goals if you schedule time for them. Definitely. If we do not schedule them, lalo na sa mga pareho ko na sabihin na natin na, sige na nga, yung old na, definitely you would be able to forget things. So definitely we need to schedule this. So including spending time with family and friends. Join activities that are scheduled regularly. Weekly recreational, maybe badminton, jogging, walking. So you can do this maybe weekly or once every 2 weeks or whatever. So definitely you need to schedule it and it becomes part of your routine. Another, consider your time and what you need. Instead of working late into the evening on schoolwork, get up early. You will have to limit the time in order to not to be late for work, and you will have the evening to spend with friends or family. Oh, well, it depends upon you. So because there are some people who would like to work or they perform better in the evening rather in the morning, and I'm one of those people. But anyway, as much as possible, but this is a good, what do you call this, suggestion.
That maybe we could go get up early and we need to do all the schoolwork in the morning. Or maybe as early as 5 or 6 before going to school. Then you have also find a mentor and talk to them. So a while ago, Dr. Abanso was saying about mentoring. But among us, even if you are already a seasoned teacher, we need to find a certain, what do you call this? We need to find people, the significant people in our workplace, and we need to have that particular relationship with them. Their wisdom will help us provide perspective, and they will remind you that all teachers experience times of self-doubt, fatigue, frustration. It's not because you are new to teaching or because you are not qualified. Everybody has that particular low point. It's not every day that you are that motivated. Definitely, there are times that you feel down and out. So you need somebody to, push you. Na kaya yan. Ano ba naman yan? Lilipas din yan. Diba? Create a circle of support, people you can count on to counteract your negative mood. This, I am lucky that I have what you call circle of friends.
Recording in progress.
That definitely I have certain circle of friends that I know I can have that particular support I need when needed. Have at least one person. Or if you can have multiple, why not? To whom you can turn when you feel overwhelmed. So check it out. Do you really have this? So research shows that positive, trusting, reciprocal social relationship provide significant protection for our health and well-being. Likewise, negative or draining relationships should be limited or eliminated when possible, as they can be harmful to your physical and emotional health. Let me just make mention this, that it's not, what do you call this, taboo, not to seek help, not to seek professional help. If needed, maybe you can start with guidance counselors, registered guidance counselors within the local, if needed. Or if you would like to consult a psychologist, perhaps, if you feel that professional help is needed, why not? Definitely, that is one particular thing in terms of self-care. Acknowledging that there are certain things that you may not be able to handle, thus you need to seek another person's help. But if this can already be given by friends, by mentors, then that's okay. It depends upon your preference. Remind yourself frequently that what goes on in this classroom is not about you. It is about the students. We have this particular thing that we are questioning our ability. We might be questioning already our integrity, our credibility. Let us have that particular, let's stop ourselves from doing that. Huwag nating ipersonal lahat ng bagay. Ibig sabihin, kung may nangyayari sa loob ng classroom, huwag natin, ang una nating iisipin ay may kakulangan ka. Ang iisipin natin is that, ang focus natin muna ay yung mga bata. Ano ang nangyayari at bakit ganon ang kanilang maybe attitude or behavior, or perhaps their actions, perhaps specific actions. It is about the students. It's not about you. Now, your reaction to their behavior could, well, elevate, or rather it could exaggerate the situation, or it could ease out the situation. Kumbaga parang, mapapabuti ba ng reaction mo o mapapalala ba ng reaction mo? Remember, stress is all about how you perceive the situation. So try to take the stance of being non-judgmental and accepting, and find the joy in what you are doing. So parang, in other words, we need to separate it. What is happening now in the classroom is not your fault. but there could be what you call a situation that triggers that particular incident. Okay? So teaching wisdom. We will become better teachers not by trying to fill the potholes in our souls, but by knowing them so well that we can avoid falling into them. Kaya naman, di ba? Been there, done that. If you have been teaching for quite some time, definitely there are certain things that we know might happen. So what do we do? For us to have less stress, it is said that we need to have certain insights, or we need to have a foresight. What should we do to prepare if ever this particular incident will happen? So definitely, it is said that we become better teachers if we are able to have that particular preparation. Okay? So that we will be able to know when to apply that particular solution or when to avoid certain things. Okay? Next, we also have another in building your wisdom. Build your wisdom through paying attention to yourself and to others. Learn to recognize how you feel and what others are experiencing. This is more on the empathy thing. Putting yourselves in the place of the person, putting yourselves in the place of your students. Definitely, you are not supposed to be judgmental. We are supposed to be very objective. Practice not engaging in self-blame or judging the action of others. Look at the situation, not the person. Do not have, in other words, we have to be very objective. Objective on how we see the situation. If there are certain biases that we have, maybe you can refer them to other colleagues who will be able to handle it in a better way. Kasi may mga sitwasyon na parang bias na kaagad tayo eh. We have our own prejudices. So if we are like that, if we are judging or we are too judgmental, it is said that, so maybe we could refer the person to another colleague who would be able to handle the situation in a better way. May I just reiterate that what is important is the condition, is the situation of the student. That is our focus. For us to be able to really know what is happening, it is said that let us focus first on our students. So let us separate our personal lives to that of the children. So at the end of the day, when you are in the classroom, you are the teacher. You are not the mother. You are not the friend. You are the teacher trying to give a solution perhaps to the concern of the student. Taking a deep breath. So this is another way of coping. Being non-judgmental, at the same time, taking a deep breath. Now, maybe we could do this. Breathing from the nose to our stomach. That's the correct way of breathing. It should not now be done from the nose to the chest. So it should be from the stomach. So breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. So you would have it that, yes, definitely when you are tired, so taking a deep breath or breathing exercises could very well help you out. Practice setting positive intention, not a goal. Sabi nga nila, small things come in small packages. Even when it comes to being grateful, we don't have to think of big things. We just need to have, we just have to notice small things that we should be grateful for. So even our intention, the positive intention is there. It is said, check in throughout the day, example, to notice how children are feeling. Small things that they do for us should be noticed and should be appreciated. So practice setting positive intention, not really positive goals. Eventually, those intentions can lead to positive goals. Next, find joy, humor, and awe in our classrooms. Embrace the positive events. Take time to build community, to talk to children and colleagues. Laugh with kids and colleagues. You know, there are so many humorous things that can happen to us. Pagpasok pa lang natin, di ba? May mga bagay-bagay na nangyayari at sabi nga nila, these are the things na hindi natin kayang i-control. So, maybe we can find humor in those particular things that is happening. Try to let go of the negative things that happen at school and set a positive tone as you transition to home. Huwag dadalhin ang eskwelahan sa bahay. Huwag din dadalhin ang bahay sa eskwelahan. So there is what you call definitely the separation. When you are in the classroom, you are the teacher. You're not the mom anymore. When you're at home, you may be the mom, you may be the daughter, you may be the father, you may be the son. So definitely, those are separate roles. So consider developing a transition ritual to signal the end of the workday. So when you go out of the classroom, when you go out of the school grounds, maybe you become now the daughter. What are the things that your mother needs or the family needs, and so on and so forth? If you're a mom, what are the things that you have to do? So set aside. So sabi nga nila, if you are organized, then you are able to do things. But if you are going to overwhelm yourself with with numerous activities, then that will really affect your mental health. So this one, daily affirmation. I inhale positive energy and exhale any fears. I will not worry about things that are out of my control. I am no longer afraid to what could go wrong. I focus on what is going right. I will calmly think of solutions to any problems that may arise. I can handle anything that comes my way. So it's just like, what do you call this? Maybe if we would read this over and over again, daily we would have this particular mantra that anything that will come our way, we will be able to do it. We will be able to handle it. Kung hindi kaya, pwede naman ipasa. Kung hindi kaya, pwede naman ipagpaliban siguro muna. Hindi lahat dapat gawin ora-orada. Diba? So you would have it. Take it. Para kumbaga, breathe in, breathe out. Then afterwards, paano ba natin to masusolusyonan? Kung hindi kaya, then live it. Then maybe another colleague can take over. That's why it is said, diba? Sabi nga natin, we should have people around us whom we can rely on. So, friends are there, colleagues are there, mentors are there. Maybe they could help out. Take part in creative pursuits, writing, art, music, building a shed, whatever you most enjoy. Having productive leisure activities in a great way to give yourself permission to take time. Focus on the aspects of life you enjoy. So definitely, when you are home or even in the faculty room, if you have a nook of your own, then definitely put certain things in your nook. Wag naman napakadami, but put something in your nook that will comfort you. Okay? Or maybe you can have what you call, definitely while checking, we could have what you call this, so that you will not be able to disturb your co-teacher. Maybe you just have to use earphones for you to be able to handle, or rather, for you to be able to have music while doing certain chores, rather school chores or school tasks. Work hard, have fun, try to make the world a better place. So this particular slide, lagi natin kasi nakikita yung burnout, no? Leads us to focus on what's wrong, contributes to negative thinking and stress. Pero meron din pala na sinasabi nilang burn in. Leads us to focus on what's right, contributes to positive thinking and resilience. So there should be what you call that particular capacity for us to recognize that there are certain things that we can't do and we will be able to do it. So that's what you call burn in, not burn out. Please do remember also that burnout is not just, it will not occur at a flick of a finger. So that means to say, it will have what you call, it can also be a gradual process. Kung day in and day out, you are not able to recognize the positive things around you. So parang ang mangyayari, lahat na lang negative, then try to stop already. Kumbaga, check it out. Kung wala ka nang nakikitang maganda, kailangan, yun ang sabihin natin, stop. Literally, stop everything. And maybe refocus. Look into the things that still could make you feel, what do you call this? Maybe you have that particular positive thoughts. So maybe you can just look at the picture of your kids if you have that. Maybe you can look at pictures of your family. So, kumbaga, parang you have to stop, check it out, what makes you down and out, or what makes you happy. So parang kumbaga, balance. So there should always be the balance. So in burn in, lead us to focus on what's right. Lead us to focus on what is good. Contribute to positive thinking and resilience. And last but not the least, pray, relax, let go, and let God do the rest. I have here, this was sent to me very recently, I think the other day lang. So I would like to share it to you. But God, it may look hopeless, but God can still move. It could be too heavy, but God says you'll get through. You might seem outnumbered, but God is your army. Sure, there's a sea, but God's going to part it because He is God. They say give up, but God is calling. The world's way is sad, but God is awesome. God's way is awesome. You can settle for less, but God has more. But God will restore, but God says He's yours. But God is your victory. I have here, I hope this will be able, you will be able to hear. So this is, I think if I'm not mistaken, this will not be. So can you hear? Bell, naririnig ba?
No po.
Hindi?
Hindi po.
Hindi pa. Okay, for a while ha. Siguro ko I have to take it from the slide. Okay, for a while ha. Okay. For a while. Hanapin ko lang muna yung slide. Okay. Can it be heard now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you.
Okay, so that ends my talk. I will just go back to where we were a while ago.
Thank you, Professor Ahoro,
Okay.
for the interactive discussion. Indeed, prioritizing self-care is a necessity, especially to us teachers. Yes, I agree with you when you said that to help maintain self-care strategies or tips, we need the support from others, like friends, family, and colleagues. Again, thank you very much. Friends, I think Professor Ahoro also deserves a virtual round of applause. Okay. Let's now have the open forum. May I invite those participants with questions to type them in our Zoom chat box or comment on our Facebook Live. And for those who are on FB Live, please state your name so that you will also be identified. Let me see kung meron sa chat box. Wala po. Sa message. Hindi natin sa messenger. Okay, may tanong po sa messenger. I think this can be answered by both. We have Professor Ahoro and Dr. Abainza. Paano po kung ang cause ng stress ay ang student interns? Kasi palaging absent or kulang sa preparation. Ano po ang dapat gawin? Madam Ahoro and Dr. Abainza, I think can answer this question.
Okay. First and foremost, we have what you call the focal person. For each particular school, there is a focal person that you can contact. Well, the very first stage, of course, is the student first. We need to talk to the student. What could be the situation, the concern of the student, plus he or she is not able to perform. Then next, of course, if that particular thing you were not able to, nothing happened after talking to the student, then maybe it's about time that you talk to the focal person of that particular school. And maybe to the program advisor, so that certain interventions can be given. Thank you, Belle.
Hello, ma'am.
Madam Abainza.
Belle.
Ma'am Belle.
Yes, on my part, sabi ko kanina when I mentioned about effective mentoring, I think nothing can beat an open communication. Dapat kausapin ng student teacher yung estudyante, okay? Lay down the rules kasi accountability yan din ng cooperating teacher. So lay down the rules, talk to the student, make him or her understand what is in store for him or her in the mentorship program. Kasi after all, ibang pagtulong depende sa tinutulungan. Kung ayaw naman magpatulong, ano magagawa natin? But then, sabi nga natin, nobody should be left behind. So tayo pa rin, namumroblema pa rin yung cooperating teachers in terms of helping the student. So in this case, dahil ayaw natin na may maiwanan, lahat tayo, gusto natin lahat sila mag-graduate, graduate. So we consult authorities then. Yung meron pa rin namang sa school, meron yatang sabi ni Ma'am Malen is yung supervising instructor. Then we also have the EL coordinator of the deploying school. We work together, help together para kausapin yung estudyante baka merong underlying problems. And then afterwards, kung talagang ayaw niya, kausapin siya at ayaw niya, hindi niya talaga kaya, then that's the time na siguro drastic measures. Pero as much as possible, baga tayo, we are humane and we hope to help them to the best that we can. So yun po, communication muna, sa level muna nila, and then perhaps later on, pag hindi na talaga kaya, sa right authorities. Yan po, Ma'am.
Opo, thank you very much po, Madam Therese Abainza and Madam Ahoro. So, nasagot talaga ng maayos. Alam na natin kung anong dapat gawin as cooperating teachers. So, far as of now, wala namang tanong sa chat box. Ibig sabihin po, ang galing ng mga speakers natin. Let's
matipid
give
sa
them,
tanong, matipid sa tanong.
kasi clear po, klarado, ang gagaling. So let's give the 3 speakers for this morning a virtual round of applause. Nakakatuwa. Ang ganda ng performance. Okay? So, ay meron isa. Tingnan natin kung merong tanong. Meron kong nakitang isa. Wala naman. Okay.
Sa FB, ma'am, wala pa tayong questions sa FB Live. Baka meron silang na-post
Wala
doon?
po. May in charge
Yan.
po dito.
Okay.
Opo. Tumitingin sa FB Live. Okay, so that's the one and only question for both of you. And so we are now going to award the certificate of commendation to these two intelligent speakers. Let me read the text. Okay, Republic of the Philippines, Bicol University, College of Education, Daraga Albay. Certificate of commendation is hereby presented to Maria Teresa Abainza, PhD, for sharing her invaluable insights as resource speaker during the webinar for cooperating teachers held on February 1, 2023 via Zoom and FB Live. Given this first day of February 2023 at BU College of Education, Daraga Albay. Signed, Marcia Corazon Rico, PhD, Project Leader, Ripples. Professor Rafael B. Guemia, BUCE Extension Coordinator. Lorna M. Minya, PhD, Dean, BU College of Education. And signed, Jobert Ofracio, PhD, President, ALCU5. Same certificate is awarded to Professor Maria Elena Ahoro. Okay, so I think we don't need to read the text. Congratulations to both of you po.
Ano lang, Ma'am Mabs? EDD po ako.
Ay, sorry po. EDD.
That's okay. No
Okay
problem.
po. Thank you, Ma'am.
Pamilya.
Pamilya. Okay, to signal the end of this webinar, let us welcome the project leader of Project Ripples, Dr. Marcia Corazon P. Rico, for her closing remark.
The theme for today's learning session is clear. In our job as teachers, love is all that matters, faithful and forever. Keeping us together, love is all we need. Tamang-tama, February 1, it's Love Month. Sir Leo and Ma'am, my Ate Tet emphasized the beauty of mentoring. Mentoring really works. Nobody should be left behind. Reach out, give love. For Ma'am Malen, teaching is indeed a work of heart. In teaching, we give love. Love is energy. We replenish. We take care of ourselves. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, with heartfelt gratitude, I say thank you to all of you who joined us in today's webinar. To our speakers, Sir Leo Brizuela from Ligao City Division, to Dr. Tet, Ate Tet Abainza, and Ma'am Malen Ahoro. Last January 25, we listened to Dr. Leo, Ma'am Sherry Orozco, Ma'am Annabel, Ma'am Cecil Aguilar. To all of you, to our dear speakers, I say Diyos mabalos po sa Indogabos. To our partners, our cooperating teachers, of course, our teacher interns who are on board. Thank you for your virtual presence. Thank you for sharing the learning journey with us. Sa amin pong partner sa Bicol University, the BU Experiential Learning Office with Professor Sherry Orozco, Professor Annabel Arena, and Professor Apple Rubio, to ALCU5, ang mga kapamilya po namin sa mga local community colleges headed by Sir Jobert Ofracio, the President. The BU Admissions Office with Ma'am Henny Lumibaw as Dean. The BUCE Project Ripples team. We have Professor Rafael Buemia, who is in Portugal right now. We have Professor Angelo Candelaria, Ma'am Noreline de Chavez, me, and of course, Dr. Henny Lumibao. Thank you very much. The BU Communication and Public Relations Office, headed by Ma'am Renilyn Bautista, ang aming mga Kuya Josh Codornis and Kuya Arnold Noda. Diyos mabalos po sa indo, gabos na tabang. To all of us on board, thank you for participating in our 2-day webinar, Our Journey to the Teaching Internship. We truly appreciate your contribution and the time you shared to us. We're glowing inside with your love shining through, and thank you for everything you do. We're glowing inside because of you. Diyos mabalos po. Watch out for more webinars. By March, every Wednesday, the Project Ripples team will sponsor a free webinar on the Filipino Sign Language. Okay, so we are inviting you. Professor Pap Buemia is the component leader for that. So join us always. Thank you very much. Okay, so Mama Bell, thank you also. And last time, Teacher Apple was the facilitator, moderator. Maraming salamat. Diyos po ang magbalos.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Rico. By the way, may I remind all the participants to accomplish the evaluation link sent in the chat box or flashed on screen. The certificate of appreciation will only be given to those who have accomplished the evaluation form. Again, may I request everyone to please open your camera for the photo opportunity.
Okay po, wear your best smile for panel 1. Ready? Okay. Next po, for panel 2. Okay. For panel 3. Okay, so wala naka-open ang camera sa panel 3. Okay, next. 4 and 5.
Thank you. Okay, my dear friends, on behalf of the Bicol University College of Education, under the able leadership of Dr. Lorna M. Minya, together with the Extension Coordinator, Professor Rafael Buemia, the Experiential Learning Office, and with me are Professor Annabel Arena and Professor Apple Rubio. We would like to say thank you. Diyos mabalos po sa Indugabos. This is your host, Maribel M. Naz, now signing off.
Please evaluate the webinar today. Thank you very much. Okay, sa BU College of Ed, maraming salamat po.
This is the school we wish to sing, of a school to honor and revere, a temple built by